tied for 8th. And we could be sitting here like, what are they going to do? When are they going to, like, what?
Well, I think
who are they going to acquire?
I think
same old song and dance.
As opposed to their sweet 11 wins.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's the same thing. Like, this is why. See, people are very short-sighted.
Mm-hmm.
So you get rid of Damian Lillard, and I get it. That was a tough decision, but it was the right decision because you weren't going anywhere with him. Like, you had the same record every year, and it was boring, and people were tired of it. You would have that again, right? And so I know it sucks right now, but it's very short-sighted to say that was the wrong decision based on this season being so. Hold on.
Your argument holds no water.
Based on this season being so crappy.
Well,
so I will be rooting for my young Blazers tonight as you are Cry Eyes.
Because you watch. So
well, Suk and I will be
for Damian
betting against them. Well, we already have bet against them. We'll be rooting against them.
Oh, I think they're a lock tonight. Plus 10.5.
Because I don't care about the plus 10.5.
Oh, no, we just need them to lose.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that win total creeping up to 14. No, let's keep that. If they get to 20, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be a little nervous. But again, I'm not quite certain your argument stays put because the idea was that you wouldn't just stockpile young guards to go with Damian Lillard. I think that the idea was that you would use your young assets to do what you said you were going to do and go all in and bring in veterans in order to be better. Yeah.
Hey, they went young. Okay.
Yeah. So
youth, it takes some time.
Yeah, 14 and 33. Yeah, that's some time.
Well, it takes some time.
And the last 2 years, if you want to throw that in there, because they've tanked the last 2 years. So really, you're 3 years into the tank, and so
now you're just being a hater.
Next year will be 4, or realistic.
Next year is 4 because they get another draft pick, right?
Yes.
And so they'll probably draft a guard.
Yeah, I would hope so. I'm hoping a small
drink
guard.
Their haterade and eat their hater tots.
I'm crossing my fingers that it's a 6-foot guard that doesn't shoot the ball very well. That's what I'm hoping.
A lot of hater tots being passed out right now because we're reminiscing about Damian Lillard. But
that'd be cool. It'd be cool to see him tonight.
There ain't gonna be no buddy stuff.
Yeah, I guess. I think it'd be cooler to see.
There will be some buddy stuff.
Triple double. That's what I think is going to be cool.
Yeah.
They're going to chant MVP for Scoot.
MVP of the Rising Stars game.
Maybe they'll chant ROY, even though that's going to be Wemby.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if we're doing Rookie of the Year rankings, it's not Wemby that's keeping him from it, and it's not Chet that's keeping him from it. We got to go a ways down the list. We're chopping that down a while before we get to our guy. He's young, give him time, but stop. I still go back to I think my favorite horse-ass statement coming from the Blazers and Joe Cronin is there's just some guys that don't struggle right away in the league. They come in and there's no growth curve. That they just come in and make an immediate impact. Yeah, about that.
Like, why put that out there, that expectation? It's nice to, even if you think that, wait until it happens to say that's what we loved about him.
Yeah, that's not, it's not the best. It's not the best thing to say about the undersized guard that doesn't shoot the ball very well. I mean, there's going to be some growing pains. He's shown life the last handful of games. Well, not everyone, but he's starting to have some performances during games, like in the fourth quarter the other night against the Sixers. I think he had 18 or 20.
He had 22 off the bench.
Yeah, you're starting to see some signs of life. I think some people get frustrated too with the whole Brogdon thing. It's like, get him out of here. Like, if this season is gone, and believe me, it's gone. You have the 5th worst record in the league. Like, stop having Brogdon take over fourth quarter minutes and just baptism by fire. Just drown him in the lake.
I get that.
And let him come out on the other side.
Go to that lake.
I've also heard that on the other side of it, that people think that Brogdon would be a great mentor for him for the rest of the season, but that doesn't mean you can't switch their roles and have Brogdon be the bench guy and let Scoot take over.
He don't need no mentor.
Actually, kind of does.
He's got
go to that lake.
Chance was one of the best point guards ever of all time.
Ooh. Rob's coming in with hot takes today.
Is he a top 10 of all time?
No.
Chance was great, though.
God, no.
He was really good. He won an NBA Finals.
Hey,
top 10.
Really good player.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. We're top 20?
Top 10.
Lillard's probably not even top 10.
No, probably not.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of great point
there are
guards.
a lot of really, really good guards out there.
Look, here's the point. The point is the new baby Blazers are here.
Yes.
So who needs Damian Lillard? Not this team. Not this city.
No. Milwaukee does.
I guess.
Milwaukee. I think it's
if they don't win a title.
Sure.
I mean,
look, the pressure's on,
what
obviously.
Are we saying? What are we saying?
Well, I mean, Milwaukee.
Probably fire Doc and get another coach.
Just keep rotating cats. I'm excited. I've been to a couple games this year, and, it's like, whatever. One, I'm excited about.
Yeah, the most exciting part of the rebuild is when the guy you traded to start the rebuild
Yes.
comes back to town.
Yes.
That's not a very good sign, is it?
Hands down. There's not another game that's going to be anywhere close to this. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess. I'll be watching Brandon Miller.
Who's having a nice year.
Because I'm looking at the Rookie of the Year, what do they call it? The NBA.com Rookie Ladder?
Yeah.
Rookie of the Year ladder?
It would be Chet, Wemby, and Miller, 1, 2, 3.
Well, no, it's Wemby, Chet, Miller, 1, 2, 3.
What did I say?
You said Chet, Wemby, Miller, 1, 2, 3.
Well,
And Chet is a rookie technically,
Yes.
but I mean, it's got to be Victor, but it's kind of weird that they are terrible.
Oh, they're all kinds of bad.
What do they have? 8 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins?
They have,
7 wins?
they have a worse record than Portland. They're the one team in the West. Portland's 14-33, and the Spursy Spurs are 10-37.
What if the Blazers had no wins, but Scoot was leading the Rookie of the Year charge? Would that make you feel better?
Yes, it would.
Yeah. No win, not one win.
Well, first off, I have a sizable wager on under 28.5, so
You could probably cash it.
that would make me
Right?
very yes.
I mean, how many games are left?
That would make me very, very happy. And again, this year for me is all about development, which is why the whole Brogdon closing out games thing is a little weird. Although, I mean, I kind of get it because there was times in the fourth quarter when Scoot was closing out games that it was bad. And I mean, I'm more of a take your lump sort of guy, but maybe that's one of those you can't just keep running it out there with turnovers and, you know, for the sake of morale. I don't know, but they've decided to obviously close games without Scoot.
Yeah, well, who cares about that? They don't need him late in games. Too big of leads, you know? I mean, they're hot.
Hey, by the way, he
Won
made
4 of 8.
He made an appearance here on that the Kia rookie ladder.
Yeah, he's 10th.
He snuck in at number 10.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yep. Hey, dude, the future is bright. Okay?
I hope so.
So pour out your haterade.
Can I still eat my hater tots?
You can.
All right.
Just don't choke on them.
Yeah, all right. So haterade, no. Hater tots.
Yeah.
Because given my choice between Gatorade and tots, like if I had to get rid of one, I'd get rid of Gatorade. I don't really drink Gatorade.
Danny said he's going to cry tonight.
Is he? No, he's not.
That's what he said.
Horse, really?
That's what he said. I was listening to their show. I like their show. I
He's
listened to
gonna
it
cry
when he's there.
over what?
Just Damian Lillard.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loved him.
I mean,
Loves him.
hey, you know what? That's a tender man showing his emotions, and I'm
That's
not
right.
here to criticize that.
That's right.
Although I am a little like, huh? Man, tears. He's not dead. He didn't die.
He'll be dead after Scoot dominates him tonight.
He's coming back.
Bleacher Report ranked the top 100 point guards of all time. They had Chauncey at 14.
Yeah, top 15. Where's Lillard?
I would bet higher than that.
Yeah, Lillard's way better than Chauncey Billups. Come on.
I don't know about way. Chauncey Billups was criminally underrated.
Damian Lillard is a significantly better player than Chauncey Billups ever was.
Well, this article is from 2015, so it's
Yeah.
going to be a problem.
That's going to be an issue. Yeah.
So where is he then, huh?
Well,
Uh-huh.
he's not on it in 2015.
Was Chauncey ever all NBA in anything?
I feel like he might have been in 2004 with that Pistons team.
Yeah, Chauncey Billups was a good player, and he was part of
Leader.
that championship team.
Winner.
So he's a 5-time All-Star, and he made All NBA second team once.
Hey, second team. That's good.
And okay, he made the third team once or twice. What is it? I'm confused. He either made he made 2, possibly 3 All NBA teams. I think Lillard's made 7 or 8
In your
already.
face.
All right, on this
I
list
rest my
published in October, Chauncey 22nd on the list and Dame 18 on the list.
Okay, so pretty close. Who's in between them?
Penny Hardaway, Dennis Johnson, Tiny Archibald.
Do you have Dennis Johnson? I guess he was awesome. Tiny Archibald and who? Penny Hardaway?
That's right.
Dude, Penny before
The injuries
they
was
got Penny
was balling.
They got Penny. I don't really think of Penny Hardaway as a point guard.
I don't either much.
Yeah.
But dude, Penny before he got hurt, Lil Penny was the truth. That guy was legit. He just fell apart.
First basketball sneakers I ever really fell in love with.
Yeah. Yeah, he was that whole marketing campaign. His greatness is just kind of lost to history a little bit. You know, but yeah, when he had it rolling there with him and Shaq, and then obviously, you know, that divorce and all that, but
It was a good little 30-30 on that. This magic moment was
Yeah.
was really solid.
Yeah, if they could have stayed together, but then Shaq tied his wagon to this other guy, Kobe Bryant. Turned out
Who?
not bad.
There's no Scoot.
Turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah, the Magic had it rolling a couple times, right? You had Dwight Howard there.
Yeah, they made some finals,
Shaq.
just never won. Shaq made a final there early, and then Olajuwon bitch slapped him. And then I think Howard, did they get spurred in theirs? I think they got spurred.
I don't recall.
If I'm
I
not
don't
mistaken.
remember either who they played.
Yeah, and by the way, great players, but it's like both Shaq and Dwight came up against other.
The Lakers beat them.
The Lakers got him? Okay, so they got shacked?
Lakers 4-1. And let's see who was on that Lakers squad.
Well, I'm sure that's Shaq and Kobe.
Can you name anything about the city of Orlando outside of Disney? Because I know you've been there.
I've been there many a time.
I've never been there.
It's close to the Daytona 500s over there, kind of in that general area. Disney, surprise.
I feel like Orlando's very generic without Disney. Because the Magic are very generic.
Look, if you took out Disney, yeah. I mean, that's the whole point with like the DeSantis thing is like Disney was like its own little entity there. It is Orlando. I mean, yeah. I mean, who goes to Orlando if not for that?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You're right. You're right.
I just feel like they're a very generic U.S. city.
Isn't it a really popular golf destination, Isaac? Isn't that where like the Golf Channel is located? And I thought it's kind of like an epicenter for like a lot of different courses and stuff like that in the state of Florida. Is that not accurate?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I mean, I know Golf Channel is there, but most of the guys live they live south of there.
Jupiter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all down there. Jordan's new course and all that.
Like that's where we did training camp with the Buccaneers, but we stayed in Surprise, and it's like this own weird little Disney village thing right outside of it,
Again, the Disney thing, I guess be known for something. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice.
And what's the other one? Universal Studios is there too. So there's that, and there's like a bunch of water parks. It's very like if a cruise came to life and like went up on land, it would be Orlando.
University of Central Florida Golden Knights are there, right?
Oh, is that Central Florida?
I think UCF is in Orlando.
It could be. South Florida's in Tampa.
No, I think we talked about this, that Central Florida is actually, it is in Orlando. Never mind. Is it South Florida that's not in South Florida?
South Florida's in Tampa.
Yeah, which isn't
Which is,
really
like, in the
South
middle.
Florida.
Yeah, is it really South
Yeah,
Florida?
it's
South
like-
Florida would be like Miami.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of those weird little things. But yeah, when you look up Orlando, I looked up like TripAdvisor, it's all theme parks.
All Disney.
Well, no, again, Universal. They got those too. But yeah, it's all like the wizarding world of Harry Potter. That's it. And I'll tell you what, as a non-Harry Potter dude, we went to that one in Japan. I'm assuming it's the same in Orlando. They did a damn good job with that.
I went to one in LA.
I'm not even a Harry Potter guy, and that crap was amazing. I was like, holy jeez. It's impressive. But yeah, it's all, it's all resorty stuff. Otherwise, why the hell would you go to Orlando? There's way better places. in
Never
Florida.
will. I bet you I never set foot in Orlando.
You're not missing anything. It's like going to Jacksonville.
Text
What?
line saying it wasn't actually Shaq that year that beat the Magic. It was Kobe and Pau Gasol.
Oh, all right.
I love Pau Gasol.
So that was their last. That was the last title there with those was against Orlando. I don't remember that one very well.
Did you
Sounds
see
like
that
4-1. It's not very memorable.
Marc Gasol retired today.
Marcus All's still playing.
He was kind of out of it. Was he over in Europe?
I don't know. I don't know where he was.
I don't think he was in the league.
I was stunned to find out he was still playing.
Yeah, that's not what I'm
then
saying.
I was
I don't think he's really been in the game.
And then I just thought, underrated too. Marc Gasol. He was awesome.
Yeah, Marcus All was great.
Late bloomer.
Developed out there shooting the three. He was just the.
Kind of like Scoot.
He was always the lesser of the Gasol brothers. Pau gets all the
No question.
fame.
Well,
but-
Pau was better.
Yeah.
But
Marc Gasol was really good.
Mark towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really turned it on towards the end. There was a point in both of their careers where he was the better Gasol, I think, even though Pau was better initially.
Yeah. Agreed.
And he did the Jokic thing too. Have you seen the kid pictures of him? He was a chubby little boy.
Who, Mark?
Marc Gasol. He looked like he was like it's like the Jokic thing.
Yeah.
You see,
Takes
the
him
old
a while to
pictures
figure it out, right? It's like sometimes you're just the fat butt and you're making a bunch of money and you're like, I don't care. And then you're like, oh,
yeah, I should probably get in shape.
yeah.
And,
it's not too late. That's Marc Gasol. And so he just retired.
Well, Jokic had some of that. Remember, like there was an initial debate of whether it was Jokic or Nurkic that you'd want to build your team around. Turned out that one was a clear answer. It's that Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning, who goes number one.
Yeah,
Whoops.
that one is not close.
No. Nurkic and Jokic.
But it was at one time.
Yeah.
They were both in Denver.
They
It's
were
like,
both in Denver.
I don't know.
Turns out you made the right choice.
All right, let's get to going.
Let's go.
Damian Lillard is back in Portland, and the Seahawks have their coach. That's coming up on The Fan.
Duck fans, that was close.
When I think of Oregon, I think of innovation, and we're ahead of the curve. You know, we've got a plan. We've got great support. If there's something I need, I can go ask for it.
But the Bama Hammer strikes close to home.
It was the allure of Alabama for Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer is a guy who he has worked his damn way up, and he's earned it. The NAIA is the epicenter of the Alabama coaching search.
Talk about it and get the inside story from Portland's sports leader, 1080.
I don't know what UW does if DeBoer leaves.
The Fan.
Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further. Vancouver Ford, they treat you right before, during, and after the sale. VancouverFord.com. Somebody said that the Gasols brought the homeless chic look into fashion in the NBA.
Yeah, I can see that.
You think they did?
Yeah, they had that Euro kind of trash look about them. And Pau Gasol, I don't know if he started it, but boy, he led a craze of terrible NBA facial hair.
I think he started the anyone can grow a beard idea when really not everyone can grow a beard.
Yeah.
I mean, he started the patchy beard thing with no regard for the fact it looked terrible.
Is he the original Euro? Like, I'm thinking of Ginobili. I'm thinking of
Parker.
No, you got to go back to like
Sharunas Marshalonis.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go back. Drazen Petrovic and you know,
Vlade Divac.
Yeah, Vlade we likes to potty. And now Vlade grew a beard at halftime. My favorite Vlade Divac story of all time was being underneath the Moda Center and watching Vlade smoke. He would go in at the half and just rip a couple heaters. God bless that guy.
So I produced Kings pre- and post-game shows for a year, and I did it with Bobby Jackson, who played alongside Vlade, and he had a ton of great Vlade stories. One of them was that they played poker on the plane all the time for large amounts of cash, and I think that Bobby had dumped something north of 5 figures on that plane ride, and Vlade told him that he could make it back, but they were landing on the tarmac in New York in like 17-degree weather. Told him if he walked out in just his boxers singing "Who Let the Dogs Out" and he stayed in just his boxers through the lobby of the hotel, he would forgive him of his debts. And so Bobby did it.
Good times. Good freaking times.
Yeah, let him off easy.
Yeah. Well, and now, you know, the best European player of all time will go down is Joker. I mean,
yeah.
When he's done,
It's probably Dirk right now, though.
yeah, I would say it's Dirk right now. You know,
But then you have, I was looking back, you know who gets credited as the first international player in the league?
the very first one.
Yeah.
Is he really good or just
No.
the first?
Just the first.
I don't know.
1946.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to remember this.
Italian-born Hank Biasati.
Oh yes, the great Hank Biasati.
Yeah, he started it all.
Well, it's weird that when you think about, there was always a stigma behind the European players, right? That they were soft and you know, and all this, and you know, and now you look at it in Euro style ball and floppers, but if you look at the last handful of MVPs and stars of the league, I mean, think about it. Dirk kind of broke through, and I think Dirk was probably the first European that led a championship team, because Powell
Was he the first Euro MVP, Dirk?
I'd have to think if he's, I'm guessing he was, but you look at like Dirk, you know, that stood on the shoulders of all those guys that came before, because there were some really good European players, but you know, Dirk won a title. Dirk was an MVP, and I think that's probably the first.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, and he led his team. You know, Pau Gasol won a championship, but that was Kobe's team, right? Dirk was the guy on that. But after that, you've got Giannis, who's won a title and multiple MVPs. Luka comes into the league and is absolutely dominant. Jokic who's the best player. Tony Parker was and Ginobili were big parts of those Spurs teams that won championships. We mentioned Pau Gasol. I mean, there's just some really, really good.
And Embiid identifies from Cameroon.
Yeah. You know,
Well, we talked about this, I think you were on vacation. You might have been in Japan when we were discussing this, but if you look at all the sports in America, with the exception of football, they're all becoming shockingly international.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the best players, Jokic, I mean, you just mentioned the NBA. The best player in baseball is a Japanese guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And for a long time, baseball has obviously had the Latin influence.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's not.
Still does.
It still does. But yeah, it's certainly you're getting more international stuff. The one that doesn't is the NFL. And that's simply because no one else really plays it. But as that sport grows, the NFL is obviously pumping, large amounts of money down and playing games in Mexico, playing in Germany, playing over in Europe. It's funny that my special lady friend, her two brothers that live in Japan, they play tackle football like as an adult. So it is growing over there, even in the East. And I wonder if you kick this ahead 25 years, because when was the dream team was what, 92, right?
Yeah.
And was, we mangled teams. I mean, it wasn't even competitive. And now you look at international basketball, and like I said, some of the best players in the world are coming from over there, and in international competitions, they're able to compete with us. And World Baseball Classic, right? We don't dominate that, far from it. Japan just took us down. So you wonder if you kick this ahead 20, 25 years, if you don't start seeing some of that in the NFL. You know, if you don't look, I mean, I would just say for the sake of argument, look at some of like the Scandinavian countries. Look at like the strongmen that come out of that place, Iceland and Sweden and Norway. I mean, there are freak, like
your boy Magnus.
Yes, there's giants that are living over there that, you know, really don't fit into any of the traditional Nordic sports, right? They don't, you know, it's cross-country skiing and downhill and stuff. It's only a matter of time before some NFL dude goes over into Iceland and is like, hey, would you guys not like to throw rocks? Would you be interested in, I don't know, being a left tackle? And then start looking at, like, the Jamaican sprinters are the best in the world. Someone hasn't figured it out yet to go down to Jamaica and be like, hey, instead of running in a straight line, would you like to run with this ball? And we've seen a couple of them attempt it, but one of the best rugby players in the world and he's like 25, he just gave up his rugby career.
Well, remember the Niners tried that with that guy, Jared Hayne,
yes.
and it just never took.
It never took, but you just had another one just like a week or two ago that he's done. International rugby star early on, and he said, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it now. I'm not getting any younger, and he's going to make the attempt to come over and play. So it's going to happen. It's just a matter of, does it happen 5 years from now? Does it happen 10 years from now? Or does it take 20? But this game is growing, and this is the part that Americans don't want to believe. But we ain't the end all to be all.
What?
There's really good.
Get out of here with that.
There's really good athletes in other parts of the world. And the systems that those countries have, they're better set up than ours to develop players.
Did you know I was thinking of Young Ho-koo.
Yeah.
He's a good kicker. Mm-hmm. He's from Korea.
Yep.
He's with the Falcons. Then I was looking, so that got me to look at a list of international players in the NFL. There's more than you think, but we just had one guy this past weekend out there.
Just one?
Well, I don't know. There may be more than one. But there was a prominent player in the championship
game. I'm trying to think who.
He's from Liberia.
Liberia.
I don't know how many people know that.
I don't.
And I don't know how many people could pick him out of a lineup. But I'm talking about Ravens running back Gus Edwards.
He's from Nigeria?
Yes.
I had no idea.
No, he's from Liberia.
Oh, Liberia. Sorry. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
George Karlaftis sounds Greek, but I think he's just from around here.
I don't think St. Brown was born. It's a technicality.
It's a technicality.
He wasn't born here.
But yeah, his dad was Mr. USA. He was born or at least raised in the country. Mailata, the tackle from Philadelphia,
American Samoa.
Yeah, I thought it was New Zealand, but he was a rugby guy, made the transition over. I mean, just look at poly players. Like when I was playing college, God, I'm so old, in the 90s, I'm 1,000 years old. I'm turned into that guy. Back when I played in college, we in Utah kind of ran roughshod with the polys. Like one of the reasons why BYU was kind of like a plucky upstart team is the Mormon church was big in the islands, and we were able to go get those kids in Utah. And dude, we had the Kalani Satakis and the Tavita Ofanhangawes and all these guys. And then over the last 25 years, USC and everyone else was like, wait a minute, there's giant Polynesian men that run really, really fast. Maybe we should go get some of those guys. And look at the rise of polys. Like you could remember who was it? Who had the black versus white game? Was it Mendenhall? That started the big controversy. Rashad Mendenhall was
right.
Yeah.
The race versus race. Yeah.
Yeah, the race versus race. And I'm telling you, the one that gets left out of that is you could put together a hell of a Polynesian team. If you went Asian Pacific Islander, look, it's not much Asian, but you get a kicker, and the rest you just the Pacific Islander, you could put together a hell of a team. And that's a little tiny group of people of those islands that you could put together at least from the defensive and offensive front. You're putting together some grown-ass men. And when eventually that spreads to Germany and it spreads to the Scandinavian countries and down into New Zealand and down into Australia, again, just go look at some of the dudes that are playing international rugby sometime and tell me if that wouldn't look really good in football pants. Well, it's going to happen.
Ooh. Who doesn't look good in football pants? Am I right?
Yeah, all right.
Vita Vea was born in Tonga. Now he's American, but he was born in Tonga. Now here's one. As I'm flipping through this list here, there's not that many guys, but Kyle Hamilton.
Oh, Kyle Hamilton is, huh?
Well, he was born in Greece.
Oh.
but he is of American or
lineage.
he's United States nationality.
In the initial thing of that Rashard Mendenhall thing, Will Compton said he wanted to claim Kyle Hamilton because he was light-skinned.
Well, he can say that. I'm not going to say it.
No.
I'm going to slowly
Kyle Hamilton's like, no, thank you. I'm all right.
I'm going to slightly walk away from that one.
You were mentioning Jamaica.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Vikings defensive end Danielle Hunter?
Yes. Very, very good player.
From Jamaica.
Really?
Yep. Jamaican nationality as well. Born there. And
Yeah. Because
Patrick Chung was Jamaican.
Oh, okay.
he's not on this list.
I think he was.
maybe
he lived there till he was like 14 or 12, something like that.
I'm sorry. This is just the
He was
active.
born and raised there.
Because he quit, right? I mean, not.
Yeah, he's out of the game.
retired.
He's retired. Yeah.
There are 9 foreign-born Hall of Famers in football.
That's more than I would have thought.
Yeah, Morton Anderson.
I was going to say like a Jan Stenerud. There's going to be some kickers in there.
So Morton Anderson was born in Denmark. Jan Stenerud, Norway.
Yeah, there's my Scandinavian brothers.
You have Bronco Nagurski was Canadian.
I didn't know that.
There's probably a couple Canadians in there, right?
The other Canadian is Arnie Weinmeister.
Wouldn't have had that.
Oh, don't got that one.
He played in the 50s. Steve Van Buren from Honduras.
Steve Van Buren.
He played in the 40s.
Was the Van Buren boys?
Ted Hendricks from Guatemala. He was a linebacker.
Yeah, I
60s and 70s.
Yeah, the Stork. I had no idea that he was born in Guatemalan.
And Tom Fears was Mexican.
Huh.
Doesn't sound it, but he was.
Well, like Anthony Munoz, he's American, but he's of his parents, I believe, were Mexican.
I think his parents are Mexican
I
immigrants.
think he's first generation.
Leo Namalini was Italian defensive tackle for the Niners.
Well,
There you go.
Look,
Isn't that exciting?
bottom line is this game is becoming more international, and I think when you look back over the last 20 years, what's happened to the NBA, I think when you kick it forward, we'll have the exact same thing happening in the NFL as the game of football spreads, because it is becoming more and more popular. The NFL is making a press into those other countries. And look, I'll say this, football players always get mad at me, and I don't know why. It's not a real skilled sport. In basketball, in baseball, in soccer, in tennis, it is skill developed. You can't pick up a bat at 23 and in a year or two be a great baseball player. Can't happen. Same thing in soccer. It doesn't happen. Football, you can. If you give me a freaky 22 or 23-year-old that's just twitchy and that is just like, what the hell is going on there? And you give that guy a year or two, you can make that guy into an all-world football player. So I don't mean to disparage the game. It's the most...
It seems like it's the most teachable, maybe.
Yes, and it's just because so much of it is just raw athleticism.
No one has waiting and you're stopping between bursts. You get a chance to reset, line up again, think about what you're going to do next.
And I'm not saying quarterback, that's different, but the rest of it, like if you're a DN and O-line, you don't have a ball. It's just about being an athlete. I mean, the whole point of football, 95% of the players on the field, you're just basically being a better athlete than the guy in front of you. So it's more conducive to learning the game late.
I think what you're saying is football is football.
Football is football.
Football's football.
Text line reminding us, Oregon Duck and now Patriots corner, Christian Gonzalez is from Columbia.
Football is football.
Football is football. Football is football. Yeah, football is football.
Athletics is athletics.
Whoa, how'd that get in there?
Yeah, I don't like that one.
One quick correction. Text police are in.
Yeah.
Golf Channel is now in Stamford, Connecticut.
Oh, so they went back to the NBC headquarters.
Yes.
Not very white of them.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get our poll question in. We'll do that next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center
for art from icons like Basquiat, Banksy and Picasso, so you can
to lead their team. As handsome as a young Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll was a handsome man.
Maybe.
Look, if you're telling me if you were a young lady, because Pete was married forever, that Pete couldn't have wooed you a little bit.
Well, I just
Pete's
said
Silver Fox.
as handsome as young Pete Carroll. I said maybe. I mean, it's close. This guy's
The offense
very
was
handsome.
ripping.
The offense was ripping. He was ripping the ladies.
Well, again, he was married for a long time, so maybe he wasn't.
Dave Canalis was.
Yeah,
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, if you don't know, so Dave Canalis, who's
This is weird.
the new coach
Wait,
of the.
we'll get into it later.
Okay, yeah.
But you can tease it.
Yeah.
Tease it.
So he's the new coach of the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
He wrote a book about his Christian faith, about him and his wife. But in the book,
What's in it?
it talks
What's
about how
in it?
he wasn't very Christian back in the early part of their marriage.
Shares some interesting transgressions.
Started with the bachelor party, and it went from there and got worse.
Yeah, and the fun thing about this one is, like, he told on himself. Like, you didn't have to do this, right?
Yeah, sometimes you just keep that to
Well,
yourself.
I think the lady,
We'll get into it.
yeah, the wifey was like, all right, you're putting this on paper so everybody can read it.
It's an Alexander Hamilton sort of thing. We're going to put that one out there, make a play about it.
Well, that's a segue for later.
Yeah.
Poll question today at 1080 The Fan on X, AAA Heating and Cooling, a family business helping families for over 60 years, AAAIAQ.com. Yesterday we asked you who you gots, Brady Gronk or Mahomes Kelsey. Who do you think won that?
Recency. And I think it's the correct answer, but it'll be Mahomes and Kelsey.
Brady Gronk won.
Really?
56%.
Well, that's close.
Mahomes and Kelsey, 44%.
You think the Kelsey hate? I do think it's more Kelsey hate than Mahomes hate, but I think that's becoming a real thing.
Well, I think there's a lot of people who don't. It takes them time to anoint anyone new as great.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't. Like people don't like replacing. Because it takes them a while to wrap their head around the new all-time greats.
Sure.
And then they don't like immediately punting on them.
Yeah. They're really quite good. Both sets, by the way. I think both are doing fine. I'm not sure who has more commercials, Gronk or Kelsey. Gronk's everywhere too, and he doesn't even play anymore. Guy's every time I turn on, Gronk's doing something, and Kelsey. Outside of Mahomes, I think Kelsey and Gronk are the two most commercialized NFL players.
I even think Kelsey might have surpassed Mahomes. I feel like I see more Kelsey than I do with Mahomes at this point.
Yeah, he's doing a lot.
He's doing everything.
Doing
it's like, and not just
stuff.
the stuff that's making people mad. He's doing Capital One, and he's doing cable companies and AT&T, stuff like that.
He's doing like some debit card thing for someone.
I think that's with the Capital One.
Is that the Capital One? Oh, that guy's everywhere.
Yeah.
He's literally doing everything known to man.
Yeah,
Who would have thought that two tight ends would be the most marketable dudes in the NFL?
He did the commercial for the jab.
Yeah.
I can't be having that.
Mr. Pfizer.
Well, and for the beer that'll turn you gay.
That's true.
He's got Bud Light
he's doing
and he's
Bud
got Pfizer.
Gay. Yeah. He's got a partnership. Someone else was doing Bud Light too. Who?
Yeah, somebody else was. I don't remember.
Yeah,
who.
Bud Light's gone all in. They're trying because the UFC. They're the official beer of the UFC now, which is like if you want to try to be as manly as possible, let's fight. And then they got Kelsey, and they got someone else that was very manly to be a Bud Light spokesman. They're trying to break free from the Bud Gay.
Today the question is, who are you rooting for tonight? Blazers?
Oh.
What?
I was like, wait, what's going on? Oh, yeah, the Lillard thing. I thought there was like some sort of big game happening. I'm rooting for the Red Wings playing Ottawa tonight. Is that where we're going?
No, Blazers.
Blazers.
Or Damian Lillard.
Yeah, Damian Lillard. Not even close.
Really?
Lillard's my favorite Blazer of all time. The win means nothing to Portland, and some of us have a sizable wager on the Blazer over-under win total.
Plenty of tickets available.
Actually, 2/3 of this show.
Yeah, it's by far my biggest wager of the year. I may have doubled down after last year's debacle of taking the over. I may have done a double up to catch up, which you shouldn't do. But maybe I did.
But eventually you can afford it. You can break even again.
That's right.
You guys going to the game?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
Are you?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You going to cry?
I will not cry. I find it weird that Danny is going to cry, but, hey, to each their own.
A lot of people might cry. Damian Lillard might cry. He even said it.
Yeah, Lillard may shed a tear. Yes. I think it'll be cool to be there. I have always been a big Lillard guy. I mean, I've lived in Portland or Portland adjacent, from Woodburn to Gresham to the Couve. I've lived in the area most of my life. And he just is by far my favorite Blazer. Like I said, I've said it so many times. I don't think you could have ever asked for a better ambassador on and off the floor than what Damian Lillard was. And I grew up with great Blazers. Clyde was phenomenal. And, obviously I missed the Walton thing, but those guys were here for such a brief period of time, although they won a title. Clyde was beyond greatness, but he was never a Portland guy. He didn't live here. He didn't want to be here. He was a Houston guy, and he got out. That's fine. And then Porter and Kersey were great. I love those guys, and both were Northwest guys when they were done, but they weren't Damian Lillard. I mean, that guy just it sucks that they couldn't make it work, and I think that's why I'm always a little bitter at the way that ended, because to me, when you get someone like that in a city like Portland, you embrace it, you don't tear it down. But I get why they did it. But I will always be a Damian Lillard fan, and I will be pulling for him tonight. And I don't like that the Blazers are creeping up into the teens as far as wins
They're playing
goes.
better, aren't they?
Well, I know, and I'm not happy about it.
They're halfway to the number, right?
They're halfway.
But they are past halfway in the season. So,
but
they're gaining ground.
They're gaining ground. They're playing better. Sharp's going to come back at some point. I don't like that when they beat the Pacers. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that one last night or 2 nights ago made more sense because Embiid was out, I guess, but still, they shouldn't have steamrolled him like that.
Yeah, that I don't like that. I don't like
getting any juice now.
They're blowing teams out. We don't blow teams out. No. Stop it.
Guys, move on.
I won't move on. If they get to 26, I want you to know I am going to be an emotional wreck. I will be for the ending of that season.
It appears you have overbet here.
Well, it's possible. It's possible.
Because, a bet shouldn't make you that nervous.
Well, it makes me nervous because last year I felt like I got screwed. And so I was really bitter about that. This was more of a spite bet. And I can't handle losing 2 in a row because then next year I'm going to have to double down yet again. I can't just take this loss.
Well, keep doubling it up.
Yeah.
You'll get there eventually.
We'll get there.
Yeah, okay.
People are Peyton Manning and Emmitt Smith are both doing Bud Light now.
Yeah.
So there's big marketing push.
Yeah, Peyton was the one I've seen a lot.
How much money did they have to shove in front of Peyton Manning to be the face of Bud Light?
I'm guessing a lot.
A lot.
Like a lot.
And he used to have all the endorsements. Feels like he's cooled off a little bit.
Yeah.
Why would you use him? I get it.
I think he's the everyman, or at least sounds and looks like the everyman.
He's super agreeable. I get it. But for as expensive as he is, he's not even relevant.
They should spend money on Kid Rock. He's the one that started this whole thing.
Can't get Tom Brady?
Oh, yeah. That's probably a bit too much. He got $300 million to broadcast.
He's probably got his own private tequila he's working on, right?
There you go.
All right.
Tom Brady's not a Bud Light guy.
I wouldn't think so.
He probably turned it down.
He's drinking like Meister Row.
Let's get to the new coach of the Seahawks. They have made a hire. Next on The Fan.
Yeah. The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. Seahawks apparently don't care about Ben Johnson. It sounds like they were waiting on Mike McDonald of the Ravens, the defensive coordinator of the Ravens. They were waiting on him the whole time.
Yeah, because the rumor is that Ben Johnson and Mike McDonald had a farm. They were going to be the Washington and Seattle. It was just a matter of who went where. But yeah, McDonald was rumored to Seattle and Johnson to Washington. But it sounds like, according to Seattle and how quickly this went down, that McDonald was the guy all along. So there you go. Ben Johnson stays put. Washington needs a guy, and Seattle gets their young defensive-minded coach, not named Dan Quinn.
Handsome guy. He and Dave Canalis can have a new coach handsome off.
That is a handsome off. It's a Brady Garoppolo sort of thing.
But let's be fair. Canalis probably wins.
Yeah, Canalis is and Canalis is more of like McDonald's looks like he's kind of a shorter guy, whereas Canalis has that rugged tallness about him.
Seattle goes from the oldest coach in the NFL to the youngest.
No, that's kind of an interesting. I didn't think about that.
He turns 37 in June.
Isn't it crazy? Man, I mean, I think about just being 35, 36 years old, and like McVay and some of these guys. It's just, and Lanning's that way.
Well, he's younger than Lanning.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about like the rise to the level for some of these guys.
But he is no Dave Canalis in another sense, in that he is not as handsome, and he has not written a book about his porn addiction.
No, he has not.
I did find it interesting the Seahawks went from the oldest coach in the league, Pete Carroll, 72, to a coach half his age and the youngest coach in the league.
Well, and he
Thanks
started
for paying attention to the show there, Buck.
Oh, I ran away from it. Did you already do that?
Yeah, we talked about
Just
it.
did
Nice.
it.
Yeah,
nice.
Just did it.
But think about it. In 2014,
It's good stuff.
like he's an intern. He's a coaching intern in 2014.
Yeah,
and
I know.
here we are. He was a defensive assistant, just general, for 1 year. And then he's their DB's coach for 1 year in Baltimore. Then their linebackers coach for 2 years. And then he goes to Michigan as a defensive coordinator for 1 year. Back to Baltimore as a defensive coordinator for 1 year. And here's a head coaching job. It's crazy.
Well, his results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
You're right. There's not a lot on that resume, but when he was at Michigan, it was a top 10 defense. And when he was in Baltimore, you saw their defense last week was killer.
Yep.
Now, there's a lot of great players on that defense, but at the same time, they were number one in scoring. They were number one in yards per play.
Mm-hmm.
They were, that was the best defense in the league.
Yeah, and they did it with, look, Hamilton is all world, and I get Roquan Smith and Queen. I mean, there's obviously good players there, but it's not a defense just loaded with like all world guys. They play phenomenal as a collective unit, and their schemes are as good and as solid as anyone in the league. And they made great adjustments, and they were getting shredded early on by Mahomes and company, and they shut them out in the second half.
So you missed Friday, but we talked about the Wall Street Journal article that chronicled John Harbaugh and why he's so good. Mm-hmm. And that's interesting now because John Harbaugh is getting raked over the coals.
Yeah.
And rightly so for his game plan on Sunday.
See, I put that on, I put that on Monken, but
Harbaugh, the Wall Street Journal was pointing out that Harbaugh being a special teams coach is what makes him so good. It's part of what makes him so good because he doesn't have a playbook to fall back on, right? He doesn't have a set system that he must run. Most of these guys do.
Yeah.
It's like, this is my philosophy. This is what I do. This is how we're going to do it. John Harbaugh does not have that. But he has worked on both sides of the football. So he's just a football coach. And he's willing to meld different styles together. Unlike Ben Johnson. Well, look, they all have their influences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Ben Johnson said, Mike Martz, Adam Gase. So I guess they all do this to some degree because they come up through working for different coaches and they put different stuff in, and it kind of becomes their own. They make it their own. But Harbaugh uniquely sort of nimble, right?
I hadn't thought about that, but it makes sense.
He's flexible. Yeah. And that's why they said, when Wink Martindale's a really good defensive coordinator, but John Harbaugh said, we're not going to do it this way anymore. We need something different. And he hired McDonald. And so they're saying the same things about McDonald as John Harbaugh in that he is very flexible. He tailors his stuff to his personnel.
Well, it's funny because you mentioned Mike Martz, and Mike Martz, and I know people that have played for Martz, that have been around Martz, and everyone that I've ever heard say that Mike Martz is the smartest dude to ever come through the NFL. He has forgotten more about football than most people ever know, but he was such a stubborn ass that he was really hard to get along with. And his schemes were really hard to work because people couldn't understand him. And like, there is that rigid approach where it can really kind of screw you up. I think John Gruden's this way in some ways. I think really smart people, and like you say, that are really dedicated to one thing, I do think that can be a detriment. I've never thought about that before with the Harbaugh thing, but that makes a lot of sense, being malleable and being able to fit different things under one umbrella.
And so it sounds like McDonald is kind of like that, which is why John hired him, which is why John liked him. Yeah. Remember, this is the guy that when Jim Harbaugh went to John and said, hey, how do I get over the hump? He was at Michigan. He was struggling. I got to win a title here. How do I do it? John Harbaugh gave him two names. One was Jesse Minter. Yeah. The other was Mike McDonald. He said, hire one of these guys. Well, he ended up hiring Mike McDonald because John took Jesse Minter, and now they've flip-flopped.
Yeah.
And Minter is at Michigan. And McDonald is in Baltimore. But either way, both of those guys, and Minter's a defensive coordinator too, but both of those guys are John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh swears by him. Jim worked with both of them too. And I think that's kind of the nature of the Harbaugh way, maybe less so Jim, but more John, is flexible, like you said, malleable. Marlon Humphrey's quote, I'll give you a Marlon Humphrey's quote on Mike McDonald here, and then we'll take a break. But he said, he's doing a unique job, talking about McDonald. I kind of have never experienced it. He's really having everybody understand the whole philosophy of mainly just the group of coverages, as opposed to, you got this call, how do you play this call? He's kind of saying, grouping these calls all together, like, what is the whole idea of this call? So I think he's done a really good job of kind of really helping us all be smarter, to where I know what the defensive line is doing. I also know what the linebacker is doing. I also know what the safety is doing, because the reason why I call this defense is because of this. That's what Humphrey said about McDonald's defense.
Makes sense. I mean, I know a lot of times offense and defense, you very much get caught up into what you're doing, right? As an offensive lineman, hey, this is what we're assigned to do. But when you're a quarterback, you have to know what everyone's doing. And same thing on defense. A lot of times it doesn't really translate. The defensive line doesn't care what the secondary is doing, but kind of that broad 30,000 foot view sort of thing. And it's amazing sometimes when you get guys that come in that just have a different way of doing things, and then you see some success with it, that immediately people are like, oh, maybe this is a way of doing things, right? But that's how you get kind of the Sean McVays and their coaching tree off of that, where when people see how easily adaptable a system is, the NFL is a copycat league, and more people will jump on that, which is why I think you're seeing more 36, 37, 38-year-old guys get jobs.
Well, don't know if it's a good hire, but certainly comes with some pedigree. Yeah. Mike McDonald. We'll see how he does as a head coach, but if he resembles John Harbaugh, and I know John Harbaugh had a rough Sunday, if he resembles John Harbaugh, that's a damn good hire.
Well, and you have a really good personnel guy in John Schneider. I mean, I as much as Pete had final say, look, John Schneider has done a phenomenal job of building teams there in Seattle, along with Pete Carroll, and now it's strictly Schneider's role, but I'm assuming he'll include McDonald in this. And I don't know, if you're a Seahawks fan, I get it. I see why this is an exciting time, going in a new direction and kind of the young hotshot. Just hopefully it doesn't turn into Brandon Staley.
What an exciting time.
Exactly.
Go Hawks.
Right. For every Sean McVay, there's a Brandon Staley.
Yeah, like we all love the whiz kid until it flames out Adam Gase style, and
So you never really know.
No, you don't.
All right, Mike McDonald, the new head coach of the Seahawks. Up next, the new Panthers coach is an author. We discuss on The Fan.
Can the Heat snap their losing streak? I'm Erin Hawksworth, here to help you beat the books with BetQL. So Miami has lost 7 straight, and they're going to try to end that streak tonight at home when they host the Kings. The Heat are 1-point dogs, and the BetQL model likes them to win outright. Miami +1 is a 4-star best bet. I'm Erin Hawksworth. Bet smarter, beat the books. Download the BetQL and BetMGM apps today.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial
Well,
getting stuck in baseball traffic.
Yeah.
I love that, like,
baseball traffic.
The big story yesterday coming out of the Portland Diamond Project, making their announcement that they're trying to build a stadium.
I don't think that was an announcement.
Well,
that was a leak.
That was a leak.
I don't think they wanted that.
But they released a statement afterwards, you know, when it leaked out there. But
kind of had to.
Just everyone's like, we can't have baseball traffic. Like, it just almost every response I got. Like, when I put out that statement, 50 comments and 48 of them are like, well, baseball, but screw traffic, I'll never go. Like, that's our mentality here in the city.
Because of where they're putting it?
Yeah, where they're putting it. It's just
traffic. Wouldn't there be traffic everywhere?
There's traffic everywhere.
Where they put it?
I just love that. That's our mentality. If you want to know why our city, I mean, it's one of the reasons is just that defeatist mentality. Someone's trying to build you a privately funded $2 billion infrastructure project, and everyone's reaction is, "Can you imagine the traffic? I'll never go." Yeah, because traffic is so great now, and yet we still go to places. Well, if you put it somewhere that I want Metallica to play in my backyard, but it's not happening. So guess what? I drive and I fly to go see him play. It's just, it's amazing to me, the amount of bitching that we do in this city over things.
Well,
it's just,
that's probably just normal.
It's just what we do.
Anywhere. I think it's what humans do.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like this area opposes more things than most other areas.
I think it's a good question. The question is does that, I mean, I don't want to extrapolate out from just some people on social media or whatever, but I mean, we are the sports guys.
Yeah.
So you would think that at least our audience would be maybe more willing to accept Major League Baseball coming to town.
I was shocked. Like I said,
do you think that the question is do you think that maybe the reaction to the Portland Diamond Project and MLB to Portland over all these years kind of shows that this city really doesn't have that much of an appetite for Major League Baseball?
It's possible. Like I said, I have been shocked over the number of years that this has been going on now at the general negativity around it. I mean, and I get the idea that you're upset that you don't think it's ever going to happen. So that's different. That's different. If you think that this is just Charlie Brown putting the football, in front of him and then Lucy's going to pull it away, I understand that. I really do. Because I get it. We get promised a lot and it doesn't deliver. But if someone does put forth a good plan, and yet the idea is you're still pissed that a privately funded stadium is going somewhere, and you're upset about it for a myriad of reasons, the number one seeming to be where it's located at, and it's going to be slightly difficult to get to. Have you ever been to a Timbers game? It's not fun to get down there. It sucks. It's really hard, and there's no parking. It's a challenge to get to. Let's not act like Moda Center is a wonderful in and out. If you go to a Blazer game and you park in the garage, guess what? You got 40 minutes until you get out of it.
Going to sports isn't convenient, period.
It's not. It's just Seattle, right? Go to a Seattle Mariner game sometime. It's a pain in the ass.
Going to a Dr. Beavers game down 2-lane I-5, not always easy. I mean, it gets backed up for miles. But this is going to a sports game.
But this general negativity about the location and, it's not even in Portland. Yes, it is. I get it's on the outskirts of it. But it's still Portland. It's not in Beaverton. And even if it was in Beaverton, would you bitch more or less about that? And then it turns into the other one that I hear a lot about. Oh, it's just a grift. A grift for what? What are they grifting you? Do you really think they're selling hats and shirts to try to pry the $25 out of your wallet? Do you really think that a group is putting, how many tens of millions of dollars have been dumped into this already between architects and land surveys and all that? What grift? I just don't understand this general, anytime you bring it up, just 90% of the comments, like you said, from a sports audience, how negative it is. It blows me away. And yet then we're going to sit there and be like, how come we never get anything? How come we can't get the NFL? How come we can't get Major League Baseball? How come we can't get the NHL? Everything we've had here, the Blazers work. The Blazers work. They've been here forever. We got the Timbers.
I think they should take the Blazers away because of the traffic.
Yeah, it's too much. I can't deal with it. When the Winterhawks and the Blazers have a game together, oh my God, it's a nightmare. And yet somehow I still make it to the Winterhawk games. But the Blazers have always worked here. The Timbers and the Thorns are two of the marquee franchises in their respective leagues. The Timbers are great and one of the best environments this side of LA. The Thorns is the best in the women's soccer league. It's just at some point, can we put our big boy pants on here and accept that it's not perfect? But one of my favorite quotes is, perfect is the greatest enemy of better. And so, yeah, I would rather baseball be at the Lloyd Center too, and it's easier for to get to. But I had someone literally say, well, I'm just disgusted that they're putting profits over fans by putting it where they're at. You want someone to spend $2 billion and then not be able to make their money back because they can't build anything around the Lloyd Center. It's just, I don't know, the last 24 hours and seeing the response to the first, like, actual, I don't know, positive step we've heard about baseball here in 2 years, it stuns me how negative it is. It really does.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. People, it's like a great American pastime.
We just love
people bitching.
We love to bitch.
But, I do think, I'm reading the text as you talk here, and, somebody said not everyone has that view, just the few loud, crappy people.
I think it's a lot.
Like the vocal minority is driving this narrative. And I think that could be true. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, and you're right about sports here having worked over the years. I mean, it just has.
Yeah.
And baseball, particularly in the summers here, I think it'd be a home run, no pun intended. Yeah. But I do wonder if you collectively took the pulse of this city. I mean, everybody.
Yeah.
Where, what the sentiment would be towards bringing Major League Baseball here. I don't know if it would be overwhelmingly in favor.
I don't think it is, because what I hear from sports people and non-sports people is all the negatives. And like I always say, this would be such a win for the city. And I can't tell you how many times I hear from sports and non-sports people, why is this a win for the city? It's just another pain in the ass. A win for the city. You mean, again, a $2 billion stadium, probably another $2 billion in development around it, all the construction jobs that go around it, all the housing that's going to be built up around it. And then I hear, well, it's housing that no one can afford. Someone can afford it. There are going to be houses and apartments that build up around that, and restaurants and jobs and everything that goes along with that. Maybe we'll get a mass transit line. Maybe they'll work out a way to max to get out there to 217. There is that could be worked in there too. Stadiums get built all around the country, and 97% of the time, they end up working out. And those are the ones, too, that I think people get screwed out of because they're publicly funded. This isn't even publicly funded. You go down to San Diego a bunch, Rob. Are you telling me that the Gaslamp District isn't
completely revitalized because of that stadium?
Because of the stadium.
Yeah.
Detroit's one of my I love Detroit. Go to Detroit sometime, which that city gets crapped on more than any other, and go see what those stadiums being built in downtown Detroit, and a casino, by the way, actually 2 casinos, have done to downtown Detroit. Downtown Detroit is one of the nicest downtown areas in America, and it was one of the worst. And what changed it? Stadiums.
San Francisco's Union Square area is awful now, but when they built the ballpark down there, the south of Market area got totally cleaned.
Yeah, Lodo down in Denver is a phenomenal place to go down.
Mission Bay, where the Warriors just opened Chase Center, super nice now. Restaurants, bringing people down there.
So when people say, why is this a win for the city? Even if you're not a fan of sports and baseball at all, why would anyone be against billions of dollars being put and taking an area where there's nothing going on right now besides a crappy goose poop covered golf course? And by the way,
well, can I say that Beaverton's pretty busy though? Like, I think Beaverton's just as busy as Portland. You ever drive out there?
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
It's already busy. Yeah. Like, so in other words, this idea of like, this is not what we want because it's going to be so much busier. I don't think it is. It's already busy. There's a lot of people out there.
Yes.
A lot of people driving around. 217 is like one of the worst places to drive in the city.
It stinks.
So are you going to make it that much worse? I know they're expanding it right now. There's a construction project going on over there, but
hopefully by the time the stadium were to come in, the expansion would be done. And Meg said, maybe we throw a max line in there. And
you'd have to add some sort of light rail option to
maybe some boats.
You've got to do something.
Here's a text. It says, of course, the greater us wants baseball. Complaining is a defense mechanism to bitch because we know that we'll most likely not get the nice thing. That's true.
That again, I get. But anyone asking, how is this a win for the city? Pull your head out of your ass. Just pull it out and go look at any other place in the country where they've put up a stadium and see if it's a win for that city. And again, this isn't where they're robbing us of our money. That I'm against. When the city's like, well, we're going to give a billionaire $1 billion to build a stadium. That's not happening here. The negative response to it, as you can tell, I'm as frustrated with this as I am with the Dan Campbell and the Todd Monken game plans.
Yeah, I can tell.
These three things are going to haunt me.
That rant has cut into Dave Canalis porn talk.
Ah, damn it.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man.
What am I doing?
What are you doing?
Let's get to some porn.
What?
Let's get to some porn.
Well, hello there.
Panthers. The new Panthers coach is an author, and you will never guess who wrote his foreword. 418 on the Fan.
Play golf where it's
looking to open up next to Chick-fil-A on Beaverton Hillsdale Highway, and it was going to bring the world's largest traffic nightmare and the deaths of many innocent children.
Yes.
I remember that fondly.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
Did they put it in out there?
No, it did not go in out there.
Oh, they shut her down, huh?
No, it's not out there.
You can't.
Well, I just mean they stopped it.
Oh, yeah, they stopped it.
Yeah.
You know, I was in L.A. and New York once, and let me tell you, really bad traffic. So nothing goes on in New York and L.A. Can't do it.
Another good point from P1 Scott is he says, I think the piss poor job the Vulcans and the city of Portland did creating the lackluster Rose Quarter has given locals the wrong idea of the tremendous halo effect that a ballpark and surrounding restaurant and bar district can provide.
That's a great point.
Excellent point.
It is. Because
you brought up San Diego. That's the best one.
Yeah. There's so many cool places that when a stadium pops up, the area that comes around it, Jumptown. Look, I make fun of Jumptown all the time, but that idea, that concept, can you imagine if you were down at Moda Center and around Moda Center was 3-4 cool hotels, 7 or 8 different restaurants, maybe like a cool bowling alley, an outdoor concert venue, you know, all that stuff. Maybe some of the stuff on the water where you could take some ferries back and forth. Maybe on the other side of the water, there was a baseball stadium, and then you add some concerts down there, and you start realizing that it's a place to go. It's a place to hang out. And for most places, when you build stadiums, that's what happens around it. And I think that's a really good point is we don't have that. Even around Providence now, we don't have that. Our stadiums are kind of they're just self-contained. There's nothing unless you're going to the game. There's nothing to do around there. And yeah, I do think that puts off a bad vibe. And so when people ask why they want it off of 217 instead of Lloyd Center, because if you put it at Lloyd Center, that's exactly what it would be. It would just be a baseball stadium in the middle of nothing. Whereas what they're trying to do out there with 164 acres is build an entire giant development in a community around that. There's a vision there. And yes, they do need to do that because they're going to be spending several billions of dollars. And unlike most places where they get the city to pay for it, they have to pay for that themselves. And I'm not certain if you know how this works, but when someone spends $2 or $3 billion, they would like to earn their money back. And they're not going to do that through baseball. They're going to do it through the development around the area. And we all benefit from it because, again, jobs, construction, restaurants, housing, all of that stuff goes up. So it's a win-win. And we don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, Atlanta really flipped the script on this.
Yes.
Well, it actually isn't in Atlanta, right? What do they call it? Battery Park or whatever? No,
Yeah,
not Battery Park.
it's
What
like-
is that called down there?
It's about.
I can't remember.
I don't remember either, but it's like 15 miles outside of downtown. It's in the burbs.
Yeah, so Atlanta did this, and their new stadium is out there,
Killing
and
it.
it's just absolutely been a home run.
And that's only 64 acres, which is still the biggest site of any major league stadium.
And I think it was really frowned upon at first. Baseball took a real leap allowing that to happen. It's like, how's this going to work?
It was a risky thing.
Because when when baseball first was looking at Portland and was interested in Portland, this is pre-COVID and all of our issues since, it was the downtown ballpark and sort of what the Timbers have built is sort of the model. It's like it's got to be down. Like I think they were adamant that it's got to be downtown. Yeah. Well, I think now that we've seen what Atlanta has done, and it's only been the last, I don't know, when they built that thing, 5 years,
a couple years, yeah, killing it.
It's changed the paradigm.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It changed people's thought about what could work. Mm-hmm. And so that's exactly what they're trying to do here. And like you said, it's 100 more acres. So that's more retail space. It's more condos.
It'd be enormous.
Bars and restaurants and all kinds of park. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe a dog park. Nice little dog park.
Yeah, maybe.
Nice little dog.
Yeah.
Maybe a nice little fountain.
Well, and they talked about it in the original plans. Like, in order to get the city to kind of go along with this, there was an idea of, they would do, some affordable housing mixed in there as well, where, there has to be some sort of agreement there to try to make it a win-win. Like, anyone that's doing anything in the city of Portland realizes that there's going to have to be some massaging going on. And I just hope that if we do get it, or we have an opportunity to get it, it's us in Salt Lake. It's down to one of us. It's either us or Salt Lake. I hope that we don't nuke it because we can't see the damn vision of the thing.
I don't think that. Well, I think the good thing about this site too is you're out of the jurisdiction of the city of Portland once you're done dealing with them on a sale.
Yes.
If you're able to get this land, it should be much smoother from that point.
Yeah.
Because you've got jurisdictions there that are going to be way more helpful, and less red tapey, like
Fingers
Portland
crossed.
is. But you still have to deal with Portland to get the land.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
And then we get like $50 million for a city that needs a cash infusion, so that's a good thing too.
But hey, traffic.
Traffic.
I won't be going.
Can't go anywhere in traffic.
What?
Can't go anywhere. Won't someone think of the children and the traffic? And then the fentanyl moves in and,
They like to drink their haterade and eat their hater tots.
I would like to see the traffic part of the study for the Atlanta one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
You know?
I will say, having lived in Tampa.
Because the burbs are busy.
The burbs
even
are
before this kind of. That's what I'm saying. Beaverton's, it's already very busy out that way.
Yeah.
Washington Square Mall is right there.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, when I lived in Tampa, one of the problems with the Rays stadium, besides the fact that, well, it's the worst stadium in the world. I mean, that thing is such a piece of crap, but it's on the wrong side of the bay. You know, and so you got to take the bridge over, and it's a nightmare. It is. It absolutely sucks. So look, I understand that, you know, location can play a role, but you know, is it the end all, the be all, to the point where you're like, I don't want this here because it's going to create some traffic? I will never understand that mentality, and that somehow this is not a good thing for the city.
But it's not a net positive. Yeah, you know, like, yeah, I don't get it.
What? It's not a net positive?
That people think it's not a net positive.
Oh,
that you wouldn't take all the positive from this instead of just looking at the one thing you don't like about it.
Yeah, they just don't. Some people just don't like the location. Yeah. But I think it'll be fine.
And yes,
shut up.
I understand. Like outskirts of Portland, Beaverton, we'd buy it from the city of Portland. Yes, I understand. I understand that the idea that it's not in Portland. It's just, again, even that mentality of it's not Portland. Okay, it's a few minutes outside.
Not Portland is better because Portland's a mess.
Yes, Portland's a mess. That it would actually be easier to do this. But I love that when I say it's a win for the city. It's not the city of Portland. Oh my God.
Yeah, and the Dallas Cowboys play in Arlington.
Thank
Who cares?
you. You know how many the Jets and the Giants, the New York Jets and the New York Giants play in GD, New Jersey.
The Super Bowl bound San Francisco 49ers play in Santa Clara, California.
So can we just that mentality right there? It's not the city. It's not a win. Tell Sook it's in Beaverton. If I had hair, I would pull it out. I don't know what I'm more frustrated about, Todd Monken or that. I don't know. Take your pick.
They do call it the Battery in Atlanta.
In Atlanta?
Yeah, it's a mixed-use development, and it's out in Cumberland.
And it's killing it right now.
And there's an Olive Garden.
Well, that's important.
Guys,
when you're there, you're family.
Can we get well, there's a Cheesecake Factory out already. We don't even have to build a Cheesecake Factory. It's out at Washington Square. I got a Cheesecake Factory. What's I've got the dumpling.
Din Tai Fung.
Din Tai Fun's out there already. Right, I got a Chick-fil-A. Dude, you throw in a Chili's with some chicken tendies and some Southwestern egg rolls. Hey, I'll drive out for some Chili's. Let's do this. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a Ruby Tuesday.
Dave Canalis talk is going to have to wait. The half hour was hijacked by hot Major League Baseball to Portland talk. I'll leave it with this text from Deal, who is in. He said, "You guys are getting me all fired up. Can't wait for the letdown." Well, I can't blame you.
Sorry about that. We'll get to porn. Don't worry.
Look, come on.
We'll find it.
I already know tomorrow's poll question, okay?
Yeah.
So, just wait.
Just wait. I'm waiting.
All right. So, we'll get to Dave Canalis later. He is the new Panthers coach, and he likes porn, or at least did. But up next,
I think he still does.
It's time for In the News. How are we doing on the dreaded? Funny. How about this transition? How are we doing on the dreaded worst traffic list? You know, because we used to always be.
Yeah, that is perfect.
There's a pro segue.
COVID changed everything, and now COVID's gone, but sort of, but it's not. And then I feel like traffic is lighter because people are working from home, but it's not because it feels like it's really busy. But then it's Beaverton and 217, and why would you want a Major League Baseball stadium? I just, this is tough, guys.
I'm going to go home and I'm going to go curl up in my basement.
That's next. Here's Buck.
Now,
Brussels sprouts day. I love Brussels sprouts.
I don't think I will. I don't mind Brussels sprouts, but I'm not going to go out of my way to eat them.
Boy, they've become quite trendy, though. Does every restaurant have them as an appetizer?
Now, I'll say this. I only eat them when I'm out. I don't make them at home, but yeah, there's so many good restaurants now doing Brussels sprouts. You got to be careful, though, because like my buddy's wife makes the best Brussels sprouts I've ever had, but you might as well be eating cake. It's just in like a gorgonzola cheese sauce, and there's bacon in there, and oh my God, you could eat an entire plate of them. But still, like they do, what's the chicken place right down here? JoJo's? They do a nice like sauteed, just like spicy, it's not fried or anything. They do a really good Brussels sprout down there.
It is also Inspire Your Heart with Art Day.
I do love art. I don't
understand. See the big Mona Lisa news?
Yeah, some dumbass threw chili on it or whatever.
Throwing soup. Just like J.R. Smith.
By the way, that thing's under like 9 feet of bulletproof glass. I don't think your soup made a difference, but
no, just
no, it's not about the soup. No. It's about the protest. It was a protest, and it was 2 women.
Do either of you know what they were protesting? Because if we don't, then it didn't work.
I read about it. It's I think it's about farmers.
See, this is why it's dumb, because no one knows why they did it.
Wasn't it about farmers?
I have no idea. I still don't know.
I didn't read it. I just saw the video of 2 dumbasses throwing soup.
Same.
You made the window of the Mona Lisa dirty. Cool. Enjoy being arrested.
Let's read here real quick.
Someone saying pro tip, roast Brussels sprouts with whole grapes. Interesting.
Sounds odd.
I'm in.
I would not try it.
I'm down.
Yeah, they were food sustainability activists.
Oh, yes, food sustainability. So isn't that wasting food by throwing valuable soup?
Not very sustainable when you have to clean it up off the Mona Lisa.
Soup's not really food, though.
It's more of an appetizer, if you will. Oh.
Yeah, they were French. They said so they threw the soup, got everybody's attention, which, by the way, there was no one in there. It was like Sunday.
Yeah.
At 10 a.m. There was very few people around. And they said, what's more important, art or the right to healthy and sustainable food? Your agricultural system is sick. Huh? Our farmers are dying at work. And as they spoke, these security guards...
they nabbed them.
Well, they dragged their asses out of there.
Did you see what they did? They did not drag them out of there. You know what they did to them?
What? Throw soup at them?
Made them clean it up?
They put black screens in front of them.
I did see the black screen thing, but
so that they don't get the notoriety?
Yeah, so you can't film them or anything.
It's like how the broadcast don't show streakers when they go on the field or whatever. They don't want to give them the publicity.
Exactly.
I did see the black screen thing as it cut off, but I didn't understand what they were doing. I thought it was something to prevent further soupings. I'm assuming they got arrested, right?
I would imagine, yeah.
You got the business laid into them a little bit.
You can't just go around throwing soup all over the place.
Now, if you were at the Louvre looking at the Mona Lisa, you had to wait until 11:30. So you had to wait about an hour and a half for them to clean up the soup so you could go peer at the overrated painting.
Let me ask you this.
Hey.
Yeah, sustainability.
Heart for the art. Yeah. Or art for the heart.
If I am...
Inspire your heart with art.
If I'm at the Mona Lisa in the Louvre, right? Is that where it's at?
Yeah.
I'm there, and I see said activist produce a can of Chunky Campbell soup, or the French equivalent, and I see them about ready to toss said soup. Can I go Terry Tate office linebacker? Can I clothesline?
I wouldn't.
Can I drop a lariat on someone's ass?
I bet not.
No?
I mean, I think other people would applaud you. I think you'd be a public hero, but I think you could... those type of people would definitely charge you. Want you charged with assault?
100%.
Really? I get charged with that?
Yes.
I can't defend
the cops might even be in your favor. I just don't think you'd be able to get away with that.
I can't defend the Mona Lisa, huh?
Well, the Mona Lisa's already defended.
That's right, the bulletproof glass.
There's a velvet rope and there's bulletproof glass.
That rope's not enough. They got to put up this. Yeah, I just was wondering,
they need to put the rope further away.
Yeah.
So that the soup throw is harder.
Because you respect the rope. You can't possibly cross over that rope.
That's right. To throw soup?
No. I just was wondering. I didn't know. If I'm allowed to go vigilante justice. Because I can do that if someone's getting ready to harm someone, right? Obviously.
Right, but since no person was at risk.
But do I know that, or do I just see someone produce? It could be anything.
If you see someone wind up with a can and you don't know where it's going, I guess you could spear them, right. Terry Tate style.
Say you thought it was a gun.
Yeah, I can Goldberg them or whatever.
I just saw something metal in their hand. It didn't know it was a soup can. Thought it was a firearm.
Just wondering.
According to a recent report, Portland was found to have the 15th worst traffic in the country.
It's going to move up to 8th after we build that baseball stadium, and then everyone can complain. We have the 15th worst?
Mm-hmm. This is for 2023. This is a report by TomTom, 387 cities they looked at, and compared their average travel time, fuel costs, and CO2 emissions to find which cities were the worst. Portland, 15th.
I mean, we do suck, but if you've ever been to like New York, LA, Chicago, they're way worse. I'm assuming New York, LA, 1-2. San Francisco's terrible.
We ranked as having a 32% congestion level, which combined with all of the other stats gave us the 15th place ranking in the U.S. and the 265th spot in the world.
Seattle's way worse than us?
Yes.
Not even close. Driving through downtown Seattle during rush hour, dude, good luck.
San Francisco worse, Washington, D.C., New York.
Yeah. The state.
Worst traffic in the world? Do you know where it is?
It's going to be somewhere in China. It'll be like in Beijing or whatever. Like they have traffic jams over there the last like 4 days. Hong Kong, maybe?
London.
Oh, all right.
Close.
Yeah.
That's why everyone takes the tube.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing about so many of those cities, like when we were in Japan, you don't have to drive. Like everything is accessible via train.
And it's frankly easier than taking a taxi.
And that's why they don't.
Yeah.
That's why it's London and not.
Yeah.
There.
Not the other.
See how that works?
I do see how that works. I was trying to think what in the U.S. What's the best major city for traffic though? Because I'm saying like every metropolitan area sucks.
Well, I don't know, but I can tell you this: coming from Kansas City,
yeah,
it's so vast there, just land, right?
Maybe Houston then.
It's so vast with land that the freeways are enormous. Like, and there's traffic jams, but it's just like so spread out that there was room to build a great freeway system.
Yeah.
So the traffic is not that bad there.
Well, that's why I was wondering about like Houston, because Houston is like just this giant sprawl. Like that city is a concrete jungle. You know where else? And I know it's not a giant city, but they were working on it the entire time I was there. They called it the Big Dig. Salt Lake's freeway system and traffic, phenomenal. Like it is.
That's true. I've been there.
For a major city, it is dialed in. By the way,
I'm looking at a list of best and worst cities to drive in. Top of the list, Corpus Christi, Raleigh, North Carolina, Boise, Plano, Texas, Scottsdale.
So I'm saying here that if you had to go to a major city, I'm still scrolling down.
Yeah, those aren't very major cities, though.
No, I would.
Jacksonville, Tampa.
Like St. Pete, Tampa, does that do it for you?
That's pretty big.
San Antonio?
Then Tampa would be the best big city to drive in.
I wonder why.
13th.
What's that guy's name, the governor down there?
In Tampa?
No, the governor.
Oh, DeSantis?
Meatball Ron?
Who's the governor of Tampa?
Yeah, Meatball Ron.
Yeah, what's Meatball Ron been doing down there to get that traffic going in Tampa?
I don't know. I haven't lived there forever, but the bridges in Tampa when I was there were a nightmare. But if you didn't have to deal with the bridges, then it was fine. Vegas is good if you're going major city. Dallas, Kansas City, and Vegas, I would say, are the biggest metropolitan areas that give a good
Vegas, huh?
That give a good score. Yeah, Vegas comes in pretty solid.
I always find Vegas a little crowded, but that's probably because I'm just around the strip.
Yeah.
Because that's where we party.
Yeah, Phoenix is okay. Pittsburgh is okay.
Phoenix isn't bad. Been there many times, and it's got a big traffic or big freeway system.
Yeah. So those
easy
are the,
to get around.
Those are the better major.
Portland's hard because we just don't have enough room to build it.
Everything's just squeezed in.
Seattle's worse though.
Well, that's a planning thing, you know. Whereas like Salt Lake back in the day, the Mormons, hey, you can criticize them for whatever you want, but they built giant roads because they needed like wagons and stuff to turn around. So their city was very well planned out with giant roadways, which allowed them to expand, and now they got it cooking.
You were talking about vigilante justice.
For the Mona Lisa and soup.
There's a lot of vigilante justice going on around here.
All right.
Because the cops won't do anything
Yeah,
about
I want
it.
to swing a bag of doorknobs. Let's go.
Or it seems like it.
Yeah.
So people are taking matters into their own hands. Tiger edition next on The Fan.
Duck fans, that was close.
Yeah, this decision's been made for me since I took this job. You know, I love what we have here. I love the support, the administration I have.
And the coaching carousel keeps spinning.
There is a domino that needs to fall.
Yeah.
It's Michigan.
Yes.
It's Jim Harbaugh.
Yep.
Will he stay or will he go? That is going to be the next big move.
Talk about it and get the inside story from Portland's sports leader, 1080.
They know where I'm at, 10 toes down.
The Fan.
When looking for new construction, you want to make your dreams come alive. You want innovation and sustainability that knows no bounds. You want to work with masters of their craft. You want Mods PDX. Mods PDX works with homebuyers, architects, and developers to create beautiful, sustainable, and energy-efficient buildings of the highest quality. With our modular approach, your project will be completed sooner than traditional construction, creating a faster return on investment. Work with a team that is focused on collaboration, innovation, and creativity to create your dream. Go to modspdx.com to start your project today.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go, but I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there, providing hot meals, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love.
Here on The Fan.
Well, it's not our podcast yet. It will be in a couple hours.
What do you mean?
Well, I haven't posted it as a podcast yet. It's just a radio show right now.
Get it up there.
Well, you're in the middle of it.
A lot of people criticize you, Buck, for the slowness of your posting.
I know. Well, they actually had to start doing it differently now. There's a whole different way we're supposed to do it.
And you don't label the segments, and people aren't happy about that.
I don't know I don't believe that's accurate. So I don't know what that is.
Buck's
was called out.
He's fake news in it.
Yeah, somebody said, hey, why don't you label the segments like the other producers?
I do label all of our segments, so I don't know what that means.
Fake news. Interesting.
Yeah.
Someone's lying. And we know Buck, known liar. I mean,
that part is true.
This is in the news for January 31, 2024. Thank you.
There you go.
Police have arrested a tigered man on a burglary charge.
Hey, someone got arrested. Good.
Thanks in part to the detective work of 3 Portland homeowners.
Vigilante justice at its finest.
Now, we had a wicked winter storm recently.
Yes, we did.
And
my yard's still feeling the effects.
It really hit our metro area hard with debris. That's French.
I see what you did.
Lots of trees, damaging properties. So we have Shuju Wang and her husband, Mike Coleman. And they live over by PCC Sylvania.
Okay.
Very wooded over there.
Sure.
They had 4 huge trees fall onto their home, wrecking their house. Okay. So their insurance company and their 2 cats and a dog, they throw them all in a hotel in Beaverton. Of course, there's so much traffic out there, they've since moved to Salt Lake City.
They couldn't handle it.
So they had a contractor assessing what it would take to rebuild the home, blah, blah, blah. So a week later, they go back to their house to look at the damage. Do you ever do that if you've had major damage?
Oh, yeah. You got to go inspect it.
You just go and you just sit and stare.
It's like anytime I got rear-ended a while back. I stared at that thing for like 10 minutes. You got to make sure, is it still there? Did I dream it? Yeah, you got to survey the damage and assess.
So they then noticed that a burglar had been at their house.
Oh.
And
boy, that's pretty crappy. A tree falls in someone's house and you're like, I'll break in.
I don't think you need to break in is the point.
Well, yeah.
Well,
you're not climbing. I'm assuming you do. What are you climbing through a hole in the roof?
Yes.
I think it'd be easier to break a window, but.
Or you maybe have to just dive over a tree.
There you go. Scramble up it like a squirrel.
It would be hard to button that up, I would think.
I would think so.
Coleman's electric cello was gone.
Oh. Well, we talked about this. Music instruments, especially the cello, that's an expensive item.
So too are electronics, jewelry, jar of coins, all of it worth about $15,000. They went back to the hotel. They called the police to file a report. And they were like most of us these days, well, not much is going to come of that.
Yeah.
Right.
File the insurance claim. You've already got one going on.
No one was murdered.
Nuts to you.
Yeah, I wonder, and I'm sure insurance will tell them, yeah, sorry, didn't button it up.
Yeah.
Can't pay you out for that.
No.
You got to have additional burglary upon disaster insurance. Did you know about that?
It's your fault.
Did your agent tell you about that?
Should add some cobras living in the tree as a deterrent. Ooh, wouldn't that be something? It's a home security cobra? Around your windows, you just have in order to get to the windows, you just have a cobra cage. Now we're talking. Because dogs are a good deterrent, but you can bribe a dog, you can deal with a dog. If I had a bunch of poisonous snakes at all my entry points, you know what that says to the burglar? Take it down the road.
What if a really fancy house was hit by several downed trees?
Yeah.
And you could access it, and you're walking your dog by.
Yeah.
And you go, you know what? Yeah. I can steal some stuff.
Oh, I just want to take a look in.
And then I tell you, you can have anything you want in there.
Yeah.
But there are loose cobras.
Nah, I'm out.
3 of them.
I'm out. Wow. You know me.
You're not going in?
No.
I'm taking my chances.
You don't know where that cobra is.
Exactly.
Because I know. I've seen too many of those snake shows where that snake's hiding in a cabinet or whatever. I think I'm in the land of milk and honey. I'm opening up some drawer, going to steal some panties and some jewelry, and next thing I know, there's a GD cobra in there.
So they had a CO2 monitor in their kitchen, and they go back, they pick that up, and he said he had it in there because during the pandy, it was recommended that people get these.
Sure.
It picks up everything. They said if the cat walks into the room, it picks it up.
Yeah.
Well, he starts fiddling with the monitor and calls up the history of the monitor, and it picked up something right around Saturday morning, right after midnight Saturday morning. So he then tells his neighbors, he's like, hey, I know right when this happened.
Yeah.
And then the neighbor says, well, hey, James down the block.
Ring camera?
He has a camera that faces the street.
Let's take a look.
So he goes over there. He looks at the camera. He knows the time. And he sees 2 dudes, because it was icy, right?
Yeah.
So nobody was out walking.
Yeah.
It was just 2 dudes that were way out of place,
Sure.
trying to skate on the ice. Not really skate, but you know what I mean? They're walking. He's like, what is that about? He looks at the security camera's history and he found their vehicle. It was a truck.
Oh, and they actually track these dudes down?
Yep. He calls the police, says, hey, man, I think I know what happened here. I think I know who did this. And they went and they got the truck.
Well, I'll be damned.
Yeah. And got the perps.
Did they get their stuff back? They get the cello?
Yes.
Oh, well, I hope that they did.
Yes.
Well, that's good that there was some justice. I'm assuming that we let them right back on the street and these criminals will face no real consequences. But for the meantime, I'm glad we arrested them.
Oh, this says, okay, wow.
With more deets?
Yeah. This is really good.
You know what I got?
Well, he said that he goes back home, pulls up security camera footage. This is the neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
And he studies the image of the truck. It was a Toyota Tacoma.
Of course it was.
He said very distinctive, 6-foot bed instead of the usual 4 doors and an access cab. And it had black wheels, all very noticeable. And he goes back to the apartment complex in Tigard. And sure enough, as he's driving into this apartment complex,
sees the truck, huh?
He sees the truck. It stopped at an apartment.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then he said he saw them carrying 3 large green garbage bags full of heavy items into the apartment.
Oh, he's got them.
He was on them.
He went Hardy Boys and found the sons of guns.
Yes, he staked them out.
No, but do you have the guts then to rock up to him and be like, hey, that's my stuff?
He took photographs.
Yeah.
And then he turned that over to the homeowner whose stuff was stolen.
Yeah.
Who then forwarded them to the police, and that's how they nabbed him.
Well, I'm sure then they got their stuff back. That's
Yeah, isn't that great?
That's a great story.
They arrested Jack Kowalski.
You son of a bitch.
54-year-old man at his mom's house.
Way to go, Jack. Stealing crap and you're living with your mom at 54. I'm not sure which one's worse.
And he had been convicted of theft and burglary in the past.
Shocking.
And they're charging him. They're throwing the book at him.
Good. Now, are we actually going to keep him in prison, or again, are we doing the no bail or no release on no bail and just go away and we'll never see you again?
I don't know, but
be nice if we started like actually prosecuting people and putting them in jail. I'd like that.
They did not get the jewelry back, but the cello is back.
Yeah,
and some of his electronics.
All right, well. I mean, it's a pseudo happy ending, and again, maybe they face some real consequences. I like it. It's a feel good story. Started off crappy, feel good story. Plus, who doesn't love vigilantes?
That's right. Sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands.
Sometimes you have to swing a bag of doorknobs to get something done around here.
That's in the news. January 31, 2024. The Hot 5 at 5 is next. Seahawks have a coach on the Fan.
Hello, Oregon homeowners. If you're in need
It is.
Yes.
It is a Wednesday.
We love our Wednesdays. It's Rob. That's me. Big Suk right over there.
Right here.
Dude.
Ryan Buckley in the house.
Hello.
With a backwards hat. He's very hip.
Well, just change it up from time to time.
Yeah, I don't see you go backwards hat very often.
Not very, no.
He's a young hip dad now.
Yeah, that's what it is.
He's the cool parent.
So Buckley and his wife had a baby.
It's kind of old news, though. He's been.
It is, yeah.
You know.
Because not the most recent father on the block now.
No.
Right.
I mean, I hate to do this, but Mays is,
He's been upstaged.
He's been upstaged.
Little Maximilian.
But by Teddy.
Wait, is that his name?
I think Theodore.
I think they might be going with Theo for short instead of Teddy, but I don't know.
Ooh, that's a cool name.
Could be either one.
I like that.
I think Dirt desperately wanted a Teddy.
If you guys have ever listened to Dirt and Sprague in the mornings here on The Fan, Dirt and his wife had a baby.
Yeah. It's the thing to do.
So we'd like to give them a hearty congratulations.
Yes.
Hope everybody's doing well. Babies are cool as long as they're not mine.
I like when...
My neighbor's baby couldn't be any cuter.
Really?
Oh, my God. So cute.
It's got that good baby smell to it.
Well, I just love it when they make the newborns, they just make faces. Like they can't really, they don't really communicate. They just look at you and then they make faces like when they're pooping and stuff. And I think that's great. So relatable.
A lot of times if my gal has a social gathering, look, I don't really want to be there and no one really wants me there anyways. And so it's awkward. But if someone has a baby, I'm great with babies. So it's nice. Give me a corner and a chair and a baby, and I'll get a glass of whiskey in the other hand, and I'm great. I'll just post up in the corner. Have a little baby time.
When they're that little, that's all you got to
great.
do. You just got to get in a comfortable spot.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much
spot, it. Get a little nook going right there, and let's hang out and let's go.
Someone said Theodore Milton Johnson. Is that right?
That's correct.
Milton.
Oh, all right. I like it. You can go with old Uncle Milty. It's very old school between Theodore and Milton.
Does Dirt come from where? He's from like the Carolinas or something?
I don't know.
I think.
I know he went to
originally.
He went to high school around here.
He's from Selwood.
I think he went to like Lincoln or something. I don't know.
I just realized I know nothing about Dirt.
I think he claims to be a high school quarterback in the
I do remember
you
you giving him crap for that.
Yeah.
But I've never even met his wife. I'm sad to say.
No, I've never met Mrs. Sprague. I've never met Mrs. Dirt. I've never met Mrs. Buckley.
That's true.
Neither
one of you have.
As far as I know, all this stuff is made up.
The problem is us.
There's an element.
Like they're keeping their wives away from us.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and rightly so.
Yeah.
I get it.
She likes you guys.
Does she?
Yeah.
Well, she should. Supporting your ass.
That's true.
We might be the antisocial ones of the station.
Coming up tonight in the club, we've got Larry David audio.
I love Larry David.
He was at his premiere for Curb.
Yeah, I'm going back and I'm watching the final. Well, actually, I watched the last two seasons, gearing up for, is it February 4th when the last season launches?
I don't know when it is.
And the best part is
next week? Or wait, that's this weekend.
It's this weekend.
Sunday?
So I'm not sure if it's Saturday or Sunday, whenever.
Sweet.
And so I've got my gal and my boy have never seen it, and they're getting roped into it.
They've never seen Curb?
Never seen Curb.
Oh my
and
God.
they're starting to appreciate the magic that is Larry David.
I'm almost jealous that they have that first time experience.
They
ahead
get
of
to
them,
watch that.
all the jokes for the first time.
So good.
Man.
It's just, I've said it before, and it may be a controversial statement because many people view Seinfeld as the best show of all time.
It's not controversial.
Curb is better.
Curb is better.
It's a better show than Seinfeld.
I would agree.
Larry David was on the red carpet of his own premiere, and it got very Larry David-y. It's weird. It's awkward. He hates the interviewer, and it's just great. So anyway, we'll get to that. We have maybe some American Nightmare talk. You guys watched American Nightmare yet?
Is that the one with the kidnapping that was?
Yes.
And that
I did watch that.
My
Fantastic.
head sewn to the carpet. If you would have asked me to bet at the end of episode 1, I would have put every dollar I had on an ending, and it turned out to be I was that cop.
Interesting.
And now
I was kind of in that boat too. I'm like, there's no way that the timing doesn't make sense. This guy seems like,
That's interesting because
I was
one of the questions that I think is, well, we'll talk about it. American Nightmare is on Netflix, and it is a wild ride.
Yeah, it's 3 episodes.
Easy watch.
And by the way, you're not going to be able to stop. So just buckle. Like you're going to have
get
to
right through it.
I watched all 3 in one night.
Yeah, you'll just power right through it because it's too good. But I think one of the main I think there are 2 types of people in the world. I think there's people that instantly go, oh, dude, that guy's lying out of his ass. Or I was more on the side of,
really?
I think he was not suspect to me at all.
Oh, yeah.
That was part and parcel with how a person who doesn't really understand what's happening and is like just trying to wrap his head around all of this.
And that's the thing though,
that
didn't. But so the things he was saying though didn't feel that plausible because they weren't.
Well, yeah, the story wasn't.
Yeah,
but it happened.
I was putting a needle in that guy's arm 30 minutes into that program,
dude.
I was ready to Scott Peterson his ass, and then I had to come back with a big old I'm sorry. My bad.
That'll be in the club. Coming up this hour, we have to get to Dave Canalis talk. You know, he's an author.
Yeah.
He's the new coach of the
loves
Panthers.
his porn.
And imagine you're a public figure and you have to write a book about all your banging and flinging and shaking hands with the milkman.
I know why he wrote
imagine that.
Yeah, I'm guessing it wasn't his idea to write that book.
Hell of a story. That'll be next. Right now, the Hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victorricos.com. Number 5.
The PGA Tour gets an infusion of cash.
I would say so. Big infusion.
But it's not from the Saudis. The Tour announces a new $3 billion deal with a company called Strategic Sports Group.
Well, technically it's 1.5 with potential for another 1.5.
It includes and is run by sports owner John Henry of the Red Sox, also Arthur Blank of the Falcons, and the Mets, Steve Cohen.
Yeah.
A bunch of rich Americans.
Oh, yeah.
This allows players an equity stake. Now, the status of the PGA Tour's agreement with the Saudi Investment Fund is still unresolved. So this gives the PGA Tour an infusion of cash, and it doesn't have to come from the Saudis.
So they get 1.5 immediately. There's an opportunity for another 1.5, and the PGA did say that this does not preclude them from doing a deal with LIV.
Yeah.
It just gives them, they don't have to rush to get anything done.
Yeah.
And the equity stake will only be for players that are currently on the PGA Tour. The LIV guys won't have any. Even if there's some sort even if there's some sort of merger, the LIV guys won't have access to any of this.
The Baltimore Orioles will be sold for $170 billion.
No.
Right?
That's $170 billion. That would be some sort of record.
I'm just seeing if you guys are paying attention. $1.7 billion. Peter Angelos is out. The new owner will be Baltimore native David Rubenstein.
Good, by the way, because the Angelos family was a bunch of dumbasses.
Yeah, they were bad.
They're a bad ownership group.
Peter is still alive, believe it or not. He's 94. He has dementia. So his son, John Angelos, took it over in 2019. The O's last won the World Series in 1983. A few other famous names are part of the new group: Cal Ripken Jr., Michael Bloomberg, and Grant Hill.
Yeah, by the way, not a bad investment. I think they bought it for like $170 and change and sold it for $1.7 and change. So it's a nice little turnaround.
Sports franchises, man.
The son's like, yeah, I don't need to be the owner. I would like the almost $2 billion.
Well, they were all suing each other.
Yeah, it was
and they all
ugly.
settled. It was the wife, Peter's wife, and then the kids. They were suing each other.
Yes.
And I think they all settled out of court.
Well, because they realized again that there's just enough money to go around. It's an awful family. Like they're terrible.
Yeah.
And it was hard to root for Baltimore, and they were such a young, likable team. Now it makes it a little bit easier.
It did not take long for the state of Tennessee to file a lawsuit against the NCAA over that NIL investigation into the Vols.
Nope.
Virginia is a co-plaintiff. The states seek to do away with the NCAA's NIL guidelines adopted in 2021. They claim the NCAA is violating antitrust laws in denying athletes rights to seek full compensation for their name, image, and likeness.
And this is what we talked about yesterday, that anytime the NCAA tries to flex any sort of muscle, they just go down the road of antitrust laws, and they keep losing in court. The NCAA does. So, look, eventually this leads to just the NCAA is going to have to go away, and college is going to have to break away and do their college football and do their own thing. Because right now it's just the definition of the Wild Wild West. And remember, the NIL, it's different state to state. That's how stupid this thing is. You have 50 different states with 50 different rules.
Iowa finally has an offensive coordinator.
I'm not happy about this.
Former Western Michigan head coach Tim Lester. What, you like that hire? Who the hell's Tim Lester?
He's a head coach of the mighty Western Michigan Mustangs? Horsies? I was hoping it was
I think it's Horsies.
I
Yeah.
think they're the Broncos, aren't they? Western Michigan?
Yeah, it's a horsey of some sort.
It is a horsey.
I was hoping for another Ferentz child because, I want to keep the punt streak alive. But, this is kind of a little bit of a trend here because the Boston College head coach just left to take a job in the NFL.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so, it's the head coach is leaving to take lesser
this isn't the
positions.
NFL.
Yeah, I guess that's not the NFL, but
Iowa's not in the NFL.
no, but
I can assure you.
head coach is taking lesser jobs. Normally, that's not even the case, even from Western Michigan to Iowa.
Yeah, I think we can talk about the Boston College guy tomorrow because
that is going to be a trend.
that's
Jeff
interesting.
Hapley.
Yeah,
Yes.
people are. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Ducks men's basketball takes a few gut punches as both Mookie Cook and Keyshawn Bartholomew are likely done for the season due to injury.
Yeah, Mookie, remember, he missed the start of the season. He was one of their big 5-star freshmen. So,
yeah, Oregon taking on Bronny and USC tomorrow night.
Bronny and USC suck. They're like
right here on the fan.
Second worst in the conference.
Oh, and Jackson Powers Johnson is the talk of the Senior Bowl, but he was injured today.
Yeah, that sucks. We don't know how serious it is, but yeah, I guess at the beginning of the Senior Bowl, dude, he was just killing people. Like they were showing, like
he was ragdolling dudes and really dominating one-on-one drills. Even today, before the injury, they said he was doing great.
One of the guys that I follow on there said that he hadn't seen him lose a one-on-one rep, which just doesn't happen. The one-on-one reps are built for the defensive
because all these
players.
guys are pretty damn good.
Yeah, so he's the best center at the Senior Bowl. Is the best center in the country. So hopefully it's nothing serious because he's moving up draft boards.
And number one, the Seahawks have their new coach to replace Pete Carroll. They have gone defense. Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald gets a 6-year deal. Pete was the oldest head coach in the NFL. McDonald will be the youngest. He is 36.
Yeah.
This leaves the Commanders as the only team without a head coach.
And everyone thought that it was going to be McDonald in Seattle and Ben Johnson in Washington, or vice versa, but Johnson takes his name out of it. So I don't know where the old Commanders go. But I think if you're Seattle, I know it's risky anytime you go with a young coach, but again, this was one of the bright names, and it sounds like this is who they were waiting for the whole time.
Yeah, the finalists for the Washington gig are thought to be Dan Quinn, Aaron Glenn, who is the defensive coordinator of the Lions, and Ravens defensive line coach Anthony Weaver.
Boy, you don't see that very often, position coach. Remember Jim Tom Sula was a position coach, and he took the job in San Francisco.
I'll tell you what, teams are rating the Ravens.
Yes.
Like the Ravens are getting picked apart here.
Well, they got their
even by Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, they got their player personnel guy that was ripped off, and now the defense coordinator. And look, when you have success like that, and you're just a well-run organization, I mean that's what happens.
Victor Rico's Mexican food brings you the Hot 5 at 5, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victorricos.com. All right. Not only can he coach, man, can he write. That's next on The Fan.
What's your opinion?
It's thick, it's meaty.
The AAA Heating and Cooling poll question gives you a chance to vote on the hottest topics of the day, according to Isaac and Sue.
They were more excited than I was because I did it.
Brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, a family business helping families for over 50 years. Visit AAAIAQ.com. The AAA Heating and Cooling poll question. Vote now on Twitter at 1080 The Fan.
Now, here's a quick look at Portland traffic.
If you have a choice, North 205 is a better drive than northbound I-5. 205 is kind of patchy from Sunnyside off and off to the Glen Jackson Bridge. North 5 is jammed all the way from Terwilliger over the Interstate Bridge. I'm Claire Beverly with traffic.
Winter is here. If your vehicle is in an accident, Life's Auto Collision Centers is ready to help. One call does it all.
A man-eater.
This wasn't actually intentional. It was just really good
Just
randomness by the rotation here.
Well, hey, you can get 38% off. No, you have to have Prime.
Yeah.
But you can get 38% off Dave Canalis and Lizzie Canalis's book that they wrote together.
Oh.
Titled This Marriage? Question mark?
I still contend that she did most of the writing in this book. I got to believe that that's her idea to write that. I don't think Dave was the one that was like, "Hey, let me put the pen to paper on this one and talk about what a man whore I am."
The Question That Changed Everything.
Forward by Tony Dungy, by the way.
Yes, of course.
I find the beginning of that where he wrote, I find it pretty insulting.
Who? What?
Tony Dungy.
What are you talking about? What do you write?
Well, he says, unlike so many couples today.
Oh,
all right.
Taking shots at us.
All right.
Taking shots at everybody else already?
All right,
Come on.
dip-ass. They didn't let their marriage wither away. They wouldn't let it go. All right, Tony. I'm sorry, but if you find out that your spouse, male or female, was cheating before you got married, while you were getting married, after you got married, raw dogging God knows who, and yeah, maybe, just maybe, it's okay at that point to say that I want my marriage to wither away. It's possible. So I just, unlike so many couples today that accept the whoredoms of their spouse and are willing to do whatever it takes in order for their spouse to stop banging whores and get back together with me. What a pompous statement on the part of Tony Dungy. Bye. He said, instead, Dave and Lizzie resolved to get things back on track and rediscover the sense of purpose.
Well, let me tell you what we're talking about here. So Dave Canalis is the new head coach of the Panthers.
Yes.
Okay, so he's going to be an NFL head coach.
Yeah. He's a man of the Lord.
He was the offensive coordinator of Tampa. And then, and he spent years in Seattle. Well, when he was in Seattle, he wrote this book, and it is now $9. Wait. Yeah, $9.99, marked down from $15.99 on Amazon Prime.
That's great value right there.
And it's a book he wrote with his wife. Yeah. And it says here that it's a faith-based book about working through problems with his sexual infidelity, addiction to pornography, and binge drinking.
Oh, yeah, don't forget the binge drinking.
So it was written by him and his wife, Lizzie. It details how the 42-year-old coach has worked to overcome his problems, and the couple found its way back to a healthy Christian-based marriage.
That's the key.
So he no longer has issues with infidelity or pornography.
Can I also ask the question?
And he has stopped drinking completely.
Can I ask a question, though? Because they found their way back to a Christian marriage. If he was cheating at his bachelor party, did they ever have a Christian marriage?
Well, I think it was the goal.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I think that was probably he agreed to a Christian marriage and then strayed from said Christian aspects of Christian marriage.
So he was a position coach with the Seahawks, publishes the book September 2022.
That is not that long ago.
No. And then he went to Tampa. The couple said they wrote the book to help other couples struggling with marriage. They wrote in the preface of the book, we wanted other people to feel safe starting this journey toward a vibrant marriage by helping them see that they are not alone. They said writing the book and reliving the painful details of their past was like going through another round of counseling, but it helped them find renewed healing and hope through a stronger understanding of what happened.
Yes.
Basically,
I got a good understanding of what was happening.
So he made some dark confessions to his wife.
Yeah.
He says a huge part in the severed intimacy that I was experiencing with Lizzie was because, and I don't know how to say this, I was addicted to porn. It was like a gateway drug for me, creating pathways in my brain that allowed me to use sex coldly for my own benefit. It was a secret, silent struggle that I had years before I was married.
I'm not certain that the porn was the big problem here, as it was raw dog and randoms. That seems to be a bigger problem.
He also wrote about how he cheated on Lizzie 1 month before they were married. From the start of our relationship, I was binge drinking and going out with friends without Lizzie. Before I was even unfaithful to her, I was already there in my mind. Bad habits combined with addiction made it hard for me to resist temptation. It was a pattern, and I knew it well before we even started dating. He also describes himself as a recovering narcissist.
Oh, well, that's good. So he's still a narcissist, but he's trying to not be one. He's
Well,
trying
once
to
a narcissist, always a narcissist.
Yes, yes.
He detailed how he had to work hard at developing the skill necessary to be aware beyond myself and my needs.
It's the biggest one. Got to be aware, guys. Got to be aware.
As for his issues with drinking, he wrote, I quit drinking alcohol altogether, knowing that I do not have a great restraint in that area, and it numbs me to making other poor choices.
It sounds like she married a dirtbag who did whatever he wanted and then eventually got tired of it. That's what's said. Or he was this guy all along, and she just then got tired of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's him.
Yeah.
It's just... but I will give him credit. You got to give him credit, man.
I give him credit for
he stepped up. Yeah, he stepped up. He is awareness is a big thing.
Yes,
and he is aware of what triggered what and how it all worked, and he's better for it. I mean, look, you gotta hand it to the guy.
Sure, I just kind of
didn't have to pen a novel.
I just roll my eyes a little bit at the idea that
It's so true.
No
you
one
don't
made
have
you
to
tell on yourself except for your wife.
That's right.
If
that's right.
Lizzie, right?
Lizzie.
I was asking the question here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna spitball this.
Oh no.
If our roles were reversed and Lizzie goes to Dave, because his whole thing was he said he worked late hours in the NFL.
Yep.
And working
that was part of it.
And working late hours and traveling all that, it leads to you got.
And
time.
again, I get that.
That happens, right? Like absolutely. But if Lizzie was at home doing what Dave was doing and Dave was in the office working, you think Dave would be, you think Dave is like, you know what, honey, the Lord wants us to work through this? Or is it possible that Dave maybe calls some names and hits out the door? That's my thing. It doesn't sound like, again, that he was any sort of critic. Just like you said, he sounds like he was a dirtbag that eventually got tired of being a dirtbag and was like, it's all right. I'm done with my dirtbag ways and I'll stay married. Like, it's just, I find that whole thing to be a bit much for me. And of course, then we're going to lean on it's okay because I was walking with the Lord, even though I was failing, but now I'm really walking with the Lord, and therefore Tony Dungy and everyone else loves me.
Yeah, it's almost like they're pointing at, it's like, look at all these things that weren't my fault that made me horrible.
But now, now it's
no,
better.
it's just you. You're just horrible.
Yeah. It's
not that hard.
No, but now they've got a great marriage and everything's fine. And
they sold some books.
They sold some books and they have a bunch of kids.
So what the key to this is, guys, is if you want a great marriage, do whatever you want before you're married. And then for the first 7-8 years of your marriage, just whatever, just go at it. Just anything goes. Just throw down and then find Jesus and then write a book and go to counseling, and then Tony Dungy will love you. Did also say in there that his wife, they had to go take a test because Dave wasn't a protection man when he was out there doing whatever he was doing. But again, we're all good now.
Vancouver Ford text line saying it sounds like he was a position coach off the field as well.
Yes, he was. He liked to work with the tight ends. He definitely liked working with the wide receivers. He was very good in that. Solid. He ran a widespread offense. Anything go, sideline to sideline. He covered every inch of the field.
Not so much about the safety as we have discussed.
No. He wasn't a defensive man. He's an offensive coach, right? It's an aggressive attack. It's aggressive. Yeah. Someone asked the Carolina Panthers about it, and they're like, "We're aware, and we won't be talking about it."
A couple of other texts. I have issues with drinks and porn. The issues are their greatness. Thank you, sir.
Well, I mean, look, in all seriousness, I can bag on him. Like you said, good for him.
Yeah, it's good
for putting the brakes on his life, saying, I don't want to live this way. And I mean, I guess good for her if she really wants to be with him and she was able to forgive him and stick it out. And, they got kids and happy now. Good for them.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. I just,
However you get right, man.
Yeah.
This one says, wait, isn't hypocritically cheating, boozing it up, and watching porn a Christian-based marriage to begin with? Hey-o! Look at the listeners coming in hot.
Someone saying, is she worth $30 million? She is now.
Yeah.
Hold on to that.
This says the couple wrote the book knowing that exposing their painful and highly personal secrets and issues could potentially hinder Canalis' ability to land future jobs in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, it didn't. So
they said their marriage now is stronger than ever, and their belief in God has helped them, discussing the importance of faith and prayer.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Dead serious. If this book helps anyone, good for you. I find the whole thing a giant eye roll, but to some people out there, maybe this is like you read a book and it convinces someone to stop, watching porn or stop stepping out. And
I can't imagine this helps him in the world of football. Do you think the Panthers even knew about that?
Well, they said that they did, and they said they were fine with it, but then they also said there would be no further comment on it. They have to know. I mean, all these things are
Well, they know now, but
yeah.
I just didn't know if they knew when they hired him.
I would assume so, but I don't understand why you guys are so cynical about this guy's story. Regular people overcome addiction and issues all the time. And they
I'm
become
not.
different people.
I just said that. We just said that.
What are you talking
They
about?
just don't usually
Pay
write
attention.
books about it.
Yeah. Look, I'm rooting for the guy. Good for him. I can also think it's a little silly, but good for him. I'm not here to.
Or you could also think, hey, maybe you keep that stuff in-house. You've overcome all that stuff. Maybe you don't need to broadcast it to the world.
Well, we all don't we all try to improve?
Yes, and good for
at
him.
all times.
Yeah,
I'm gonna write a book about my improvements.
I'll tell you what, though, that's a hell of
Starting yoga again. With
her level of forgiveness, that's a hell of a thing.
That is
to find out, from the very get-go, that's that woman. You want to talk about someone that's got some grace of God in her, got some Tony Dungy quiet strength. I give that to her. That's a strong woman. But again, if that's what you're looking for and, this helped you find happiness, all anyone should ever want for anyone in this world is to be happy. I say that all the time to my kids, man. This life will kick you in the balls 7 ways till Sunday, right? I mean, it beats you down. Look at how many people are walking around unhappy. So if God or faith or Tony Dungy or writing a book or not writing a book or watching porn or not watching porn, whatever it is that finds you purpose, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you work, and whatever makes you work with another human being, and you guys can find some common ground and raise some kids and put a smile on your face at the end of the day, I'm all for it. Whatever works for you, works for you. But at the same time, I don't have to think that it makes sense, but it doesn't have to make sense to me. If it makes sense to the Canalis family, then, Odin bless them.
At one time, porn and booze worked for him.
That's true.
So
I'll bet you back in the day and this is the thing, I bet you he was having a great time. I'm not saying that it was the most productive thing in the world, but I'm guessing if you asked Dave Canalis 8 years ago how things are going behind closed doors, he'd be like, yeah, having a great time. But it catches up to you and you get a little older, a little wiser. Maybe you get caught doing something. I don't know.
All right, well, that's the story of the great Dave Canalis, forward by Tony Dungy.
Go buy it for less than $10.
Yep, $9.99. All right. What's next?
Where do we go from that?
Oh, I have Jim Harbaugh audio.
Got little squirrely sounds there. I kind of enjoyed that.
Do you like Jim Harbaugh?
Not really, but,
A lot of milk.
Hell of a coach.
Jim Harbaugh was out at the Ravens game the other day, and he was talking about why he left Michigan.
Oh, I got a good idea.
That is next. Here's Buck.
Now,
Jim Harbaugh audio momentarily, but today we're asking you on X at 1080 The Fan, who are you rooting for tonight with Damian Lillard back in town? 57% said Lillard.
All right. Well,
43% Blazers. That's going to be a little awkward, isn't it?
I'll be interested to see the whole reaction. Like, is it a close game? Clutch moment. Lillard takes the final shot. Like, I'm just generally intrigued by what'll go down tonight.
Well,
I think it'll be a lot of.
He's going to get a great ovation.
I think there'll be a lot of mixed. Like the ideal Blazer fan, maybe Lillard goes for 56, and then the Blazers win on a Simons buzzer beater. How about that?
Okay,
go with that.
I do think Lillard, if it comes down to the wire, which it probably won't.
I wouldn't think so, but
I think it would be awesome if he hit one of his signature
step back
dagger threes.
Yeah, 35-foot three.
And the whole place erupted.
It's got to be awkward, right? Like, he's friends with so many, like all the players. Like, he still has a close relationship with a lot of those guys. And, he even said, I don't know if you heard any of his comments at his press conference today, but I was listening to some of that. And, he even said, his relationship with Portland is never ending. It's never over. He doesn't consider this the last chapter. He said that he would like at some point to come back and finish his career here. He talked about how when he went into the arena, he got confused because he had never been in the visitors' locker room. He wasn't sure where it was even at.
Much smaller.
Yeah. The visitor locker room sucks at that place.
Yeah, it's bad.
And, but he just, there's nothing but love there. You could tell that there was an emotional moment for him. Still to this day, he did not want to leave Portland. He just didn't. His hand was forced by the organization. If Lillard had his druthers, he would have never left Portland. He just was told one thing and they did another for 3 straight years, and enough was enough.
I read a thing with him. Somebody went to Milwaukee to talk to him ahead of this, and I was reading some of his quotes. He said he's still having a hard time kind of fitting in there.
Yeah.
Even though they're really good. And you wouldn't really notice it on the court. All of his numbers are down. His usage rate is way down. Well, his usage rate is the lowest it's been since he was with Aldridge.
Well, some of that is for the first. Think about it. He's never played. That's not true. He played with LaMarcus for a couple years, but the only All-Star that he's ever played with is LaMarcus Aldridge. Outside of that, the next best player he's played with was C.J. McCollum. And so for the first time in his life, not only is he playing with another star, he's playing with someone that is significantly better than he is. And that's this Giannis something or other guy. I think he's got one of them MVP and those championship things. So yeah, dude, that's bizarre. But at the same time, they have the second best record, and they fired their coach. But I've heard him talk, and he says that this whole thing is weird. He's away from his kids. He's not familiar with the city. I'm sure in some ways this is a really, really hard transition, again, for a guy that didn't want to go.
Yeah, so I think there's good value on the Blazers tonight. I'm not going to lie.
10.5, right?
That's a lot.
Just got to lose by 1.
Well, they are playing better. They drilled Philadelphia minus.
They are definitely playing better. Yes. The Bucks have a new coach. That's going to take some time. And Lillard, all the distractions.
Sure. So the question becomes, is he distracted and it's off his game, or does he come in and is distracted and then decides to drop 60?
Remind everybody who he is.
Yeah. I don't know.
I wouldn't. Honestly, I'm not touching it.
The Blazers are kind of value right now. They're just, I don't know.
There's value in the Blazers?
Well, they're playing better. They just blew out the Sixers.
Yeah, they did.
They were 10-point dogs in that one.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, they blew them out. So what we're saying is load up on the Blazers.
No.
Yeah? Load up, maybe? Something?
No, I was just pointing out, maybe if you like value in sports gambling, a little edge, maybe there is one on the Blazers tonight.
10.5 right now sitting there.
That's awful high.
Just have the balls to go Blazers money line. Don't be a coward.
What's the money line number?
I got to pull it back up. Sorry. I just saw it and then I clicked on
500 maybe.
Because I was looking like they're hot, but
probably not. 350, 320.
God bless America. You know what? Ads. Here's my thing about ads.
Plus 355.
Okay. I don't mind if you bring up ads. Okay?
I'll take the points.
I understand. What I can't stand is when you bring up 4 separate ads and you don't give there's seemingly no way to close them out, and I can't even see the screen. You can't find the X to shut them. Like what?
Well, what they do now is they hide the X until 5 seconds in or whatever.
It drives me crazy.
Then it pops on there.
Give me one ad window at a time. The ads. It's enough. Enough's enough.
Okay, old man. Okay, boomer.
Do the kids love ads? Are the kids like, yeah, give me more ads?
I just don't think they care. They don't waste their breath bitching about it.
Although I appreciate the specialized ads because sometimes I buy stuff with those ads.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, you love them. Deep down, you love them.
I'm old.
I will say that
dying.
every now and then when one of the specialized ad gets me, I'll be like, you sons of bitches, good for you. Like, yeah, you got me with that.
Yeah, they do. They get me too.
I will go out of my way to not click them when I see them and then search for like a similar product at a different point in time. I'm like not willing to let that ad work on me.
Well, it's weird. Like sometimes, I don't know how they know this, but when the World Baseball Classic was happening, I wanted one of the Japan World Baseball Classic hats. The one that was on the field. Really wanted one.
And you said those were really hard to come by, right?
Couldn't find them. But like right at the start of the World Baseball Classic, they sell out. So we're going over to Japan, and I asked her family over there. I said, "Hey, can you see if you can get me one over there?" And they're like, "Yeah, no." Those things are long gone. And the dad over there finds me like a bootleg one where it's a snapback. It's not the authentic one, but he finds me one. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I've been wearing that around, but I still want one of the authentic ones. Right. And so when was that? Like that was like what, June?
It's a while ago.
A while ago. Like a week ago. I'm sitting there randomly and I bring up something like on ESPN.com, and what's the specialized ad? Boom. Japan World Baseball Classic hats now in stock and like $10 off. Like, you sons of bitches.
They know.
And guess what? Guess who's clicking on it? And now I'm the proud owner of a Japanese World Baseball Classic authentic hat. And they,
loved the classic.
Yeah, the classics. I can't be mad because the ad worked.
Well,
somehow they knew that 6 months ago, I desperately wanted this thing, and here it is.
Yeah, you think they're going to forget?
No, they remember.
They're always listening.
I like to I don't know if you guys do this on X or whatever.
Yeah.
Twitter
X.
They give you the way too many ads. And so there's one on there that I keep seeing over and over. I'm like, I'm so tired of that. And then I click on it and make sure I click not interested in this ad.
Sure.
As if that's going to do any good at all.
Yeah.
To change the algorithm.
No.
Even though I'm totally interested in that ad, it was right up my alley.
You're out of spite.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm like, oh, that's awesome, but I'm not clicking on it because it's an ad. And by the way, I'm not interested in this.
That's like Buck searching out another. I'm not buying from them.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't like the, like, you don't know me. I mean, they do.
They do.
They really do. I don't want them to.
They had me spot on. And you know what? They got my $35.50.
Yeah, I don't like
they got mine. Just take my money.
All right, let's listen to Jim Harbaugh talk about Justin Herbert, sort of, next on The Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Well, the Senior Bowl is going on, and Jackson Powers Johnson of your Ducks, very impressive.
Yeah, he was one of the high risers. They said he was the star of the O-line group, but he left today with an undisclosed injury. So, knock on wood. The other one that I'm hearing, again, it's just one or two guys that I've heard, but Bo Nix maybe not thrilling people the way that some were hoping for.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Well, I mean, it's early on. I've just heard, I've read a couple pieces that say that they're not necessarily wowed by him or Penix, by the way.
Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
When looking for new construction, you want to make your dreams come alive. You want innovation and sustainability.
of audio from Jim Harbaugh. You know, he hasn't spoken a lot since he took the Chargers job, but he was out there supporting his brother on Sunday. His brother coaches for the Ravens.
Yeah, old man Harbaugh was there. The entire
and then poaching from him on Monday.
Yeah, Jim's taking all of his guys.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. That's what happens, man. You get to the NFL and all that buddy stuff is gone. You know, Jim remembers that Super Bowl. Nice try, John.
So they had Harbaugh on this pregame set, and here's what he said about leaving Michigan and meeting Justin Herbert.
Yeah, it was tough. I was torn. My wife, kids. I love Michigan, but I love the NFL too. And there's no Lombardi Trophy in college football. And yeah, I got so many sands left in the hourglass, and I want to take a crack at that. And there's nowhere better to do it than with the Los Angeles Chargers. Susie Spanos, Dean Spanos, Ed McGuire, John Spanos, and this great quarterback.
Oh yeah, so have you talked to him?
I have, and I met him. And Derwin James, I mean, pros, these guys, Keenan Allen. But I was a little starstruck.
Yeah. So maybe some of the Chargers are out there have not talked to you or met with you yet. What's that first meeting going to be like with Jim Harbaugh? What's the culture you want to build with LA?
I'll tell you what, I'm probably going to reference this right here. You know, we work together, we win together, and it's worth it. I mean, the hard work, the sacrifice, the pressure, all of it. Why would somebody put themselves through that? Because the rewards are just so darn good, and you can see that today. And what a football game we're going to have today.
So he kind of glossed over it, or the interviewers glossed over it, but he said he was starstruck.
No, you weren't.
When he met Justin Herbert.
Stop it. Jim Harbaugh's career, all the people that he's played with, all the people that he's coached, and he's starstruck by Justin Herbert. Stop it,
Do
Jim.
you believe?
Stop. No, I don't.
Maybe he was starstruck by his devilishly good looks.
I'm guessing that he's just fine. I don't think Jim Harbaugh gets starstruck around many people. That guy's been around the block. No, but I do buy there's only so much sand, and he never wanted to be in college. He always wanted to be in the NFL. And by the way, this is a trend, and we can talk about it tomorrow, but is it Halfie, the BC coach that
Jeff Halfley.
So he left to become the defensive coordinator in Green Bay, and
he was the head coach. At Boston College.
And for years, the idea was that college was a way more chill gig than the NFL. The NFL is a grind. I mean, it is just a absolute meat grinder. And college was always viewed as a little bit less. You can keep your thumb on players a little bit. You know, your roster doesn't have to, you don't have salary cap or anything like that. And so it just was viewed as an easier job. And it is the exact opposite. They are saying that now, and he came out, the BC coach said that everyone wants to get to the league. No one wants to be in college anymore. You've seen, you know, whether it's Saban getting out and Chris Peterson getting out, and you're seeing guys, you know, take lesser jobs to go to the NFL. And they're saying this is going to be a trend where head coaches in college more than ever, and even just elite programs, non-elite programs, everyone is trying to get to the NFL because no one wants to deal with college football right now. That is the exact opposite. That the meat grinder that is the NFL has become the way more attractive job because of everything that goes along with college.
We will indeed discuss that tomorrow. Up next, Larry David audio and a little American Nightmare talk. It's 5:56 on The Fan.
You come for the action. You play for the thrill. And when it comes to winning, you're here to win big.
But this interviewer particularly rubbed him the wrong way. And so it's about 1 minute and 45 seconds of awkward Larry David.
Of Larry David being Larry David?
Pretty much.
All right. Hello, sir. How are you? That's right there. There it is. That your good side? You want me on the other side?
Yeah, I care, yeah.
Why is this the final season?
I don't know. Questions.
I got more. Why is this the final?
Because, it's time. It's 12 seasons. That's a lot for a television show. Over 24 years.
24 years.
So, yeah, it was time.
But a lot of people don't believe you. A lot of people say you've said it before.
Yeah, I said it before, but I wasn't 76 when I said it. Yeah.
So you're going to go on tour. You're doing a comedy tour. Are you going to
It's not a tour. I'm not going on a tour.
Are you going fishing? What are you doing with your free time?
Oh, I'm doing 2 appearances. So what?
Oh, it's limited. That's limited.
What am I on a bus now?
Yes.
Taking a bus? No, I'm not. It's not a tour.
Who's the guest star that you didn't get that you wanted so bad?
There's no such thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
I wouldn't say. I don't want to hurt the feelings of the other guest stars.
Favorite episode?
Favorite episode? I'd have to say probably Palestinian chicken. Yeah.
Favorite saying? Pretty, pretty, pretty? Come on. Come on.
They're asking.
It's so good.
Hold on.
Are we done?
No.
Are we done?
No.
They're asking me to say it every fucking time.
Oh.
What? Are we done?
No, I don't want to be done with you, Larry. I love this show so much.
Where's my HBO representative? We're done with him, right? Yeah.
We're done.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So that guy was awful.
Gee, that was one of the worst red carpet interviews you could ever have.
I know. And he's just the interviewer was in total panic mode.
Yes.
Because he didn't know. He just didn't know what to. Larry's probably pretty intimidating to interview.
I'm guessing of all the people that you're just going to grab, Larry is the Bob Knight of sideline interviews.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
that's tough.
It's not easy, but when he asked him favorite episode, Larry liked that question. He was thinking about that one. You could see it in his face, but everything else, he's like, dude, why are you asking me that?
I've always wondered if people have that, because you hear that, you take a guy like I don't know, like Billy Joel, right? People ask all the time, what's your favorite song or favorite album? And Larry David, favorite episode. I mean, that's a tough one, but Larry had that. Like, it didn't take him that long to come up with Palestinian chicken, which it's funny. I hadn't heard that clip, but I told you was trying to introduce my family into Curb, and the very first episode that I played for them was
Palestinian chicken. It's a classic episode.
Yeah, I was scrolling through and I was trying to like, all right, what do you go? Because I didn't want to just randomly go from the beginning. It's 12 seasons, or I guess 11 now. The 12 of them coming up, and I was like, what's just a vintage one? And I did. I was searching over the last couple seasons, and I was like, this is a great one.
Well, and quite topical now.
Yes.
With, everything that's going on.
The skirmish going on over there. Yeah.
So if you don't know the Palestinian chicken episode, here's a little taste. They are dining in of course they're Jewish.
Got the bleep on this one.
Yeah. Did you? I'm worried.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Larry and all his friends are Jewish.
I thought I had them on both.
Yeah, so he and Jeff are Jewish, and they go into this Palestinian chicken place.
Yeah, like Alibaba chicken.
Hey, let's get something to eat.
Okay.
You want to try out that Palestinian chicken place?
Let's do it. That's all I've ever heard is how great it is.
Fantastic. Okay,
all right.
Let's go.
I've never had chicken like this.
I don't know what the hell they're doing.
I don't know. It's like anything I've ever even tasted.
What about this place? Look at these posters. Huh?
Yeah, they do not like the Jews.
Huh? Look at that one. Ooh. We're probably the only Jews ever walked in here.
Ever. What these people should do is send their chicken over to Israel.
For the peace process.
Mm-hmm.
They take down all those settlements in the morning. Believe me. You know what? This would be a fantastic place for Jews who are cheating on their spouses to come to.
Right.
Because no Jews ever come here. They'd be so safe.
No one you know is going to ever see you here.
You would never get caught.
Ever.
Looks like they're planning the next intifada at this table, but look at this woman. Could be the next Mrs. David. What do you think about that?
If by some chance she's going to get over her anti-Semitism, odds are...
Not with me?
Not with you.
Really?
Just my gut feeling.
You know what it is? You're always attracted to someone who doesn't want you, right?
Right.
Well, here you have somebody who not only doesn't want you, doesn't even acknowledge your right to exist.
Yep.
Wants your destruction. That's a turn on.
Fantastic. So then the end of the episode is the best part where they're so they open the Palestinian chicken place is right next to this Jewish deli.
Yeah.
And so they're protesting on both sides.
Yeah, there's a dual protest.
So he walks out in the middle of the protest. And of course, all his friends are over on the Jewish side and they're like, Larry, come on, you're Jewish. And then he looks over to the Palestinian side and it's that hot Palestinian woman who's propositioning him with a threesome with her and her sister.
And all the
Larry's
chicken he
like,
wants.
Larry's like, I don't know.
He's doing the very classic, look,
and it never says which side he goes to, and it just ends.
A great bit.
If I had to do top 3 Curb Your Enthusiasm episodes, that will probably be number 1.
I asked Isaac today when he sent me that clip what his Mount Rushmore would be. Palestinian chicken has to be in there.
Well, you didn't ask me Mount Rushmore. You said, what's your favorite episode? And the first one that came to mind was the peeing on the Jesus.
Peeing on the Jesus, where they think it's like a stigmata thing. Boy,
that's a great
episode. It's so inappropriate and just so awkward, but I love it. The other one to me that jumps out is I love the Seinfeld reunion. When they do the Seinfeld reunion on Curb Your Enthusiasm and Jason Alexander is sleeping with David's wife, I can't get enough of that. That is so good. The carpool lane where he's got the big hooker.
I mentioned that one to Rob. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, he picks up the hooker so that he can get to the Dodger game faster to be with Funkhauser, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good one. I love the big penis. The big penis that burns down his spite coffees. He develops he starts a coffee shop out of spite because he's trying to put another coffee business out of.
Yeah, he starts Latte Larry's as a
Mocha
Joe's.
And there's a trans person, a brand new male, gives himself a giant penis. And Larry doesn't think he can handle the big penis, and the big penis ends up burning down Larry's coffee stand. There's just so many good episodes on there, but Palestinian chicken is gonna be hard to beat.
I like the I don't know if they call it Cooperstown or Hall of Fame or what the name of it was, but there's 2 plots going on. One is they didn't secure the soup at the Japanese restaurant, and they're having the bow off, and he's saying that's an S bow, like that's a disrespectful bow, but it ends up with him bowing at Cooperstown and a little blue pill of Viagra falling out, and she's like, "You're juicing, you're not getting into the Hall of Fame."
Yeah, that was like him and Rosie O'Donnell are trying to date the same woman, and
That's right.
And Rosie's convinced that he's juicing, that he's using the pills.
Great show.
It is. That is
a great show.
And I don't know if it gets the appreciation that it should.
Well,
I mean, it's great.
Why do you think that is? Is it because it's on Max? A lot of people haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think there's an element to that. I think because I think it took a while for people to really find it because it was just, it was kind of under the radar when it started, and Larry David wasn't as well known. And then I think maybe 6 or 7, it really started to pick up steam. And as he said, there was a lot of breaks. It's been 12 seasons, but it's been 25 years.
I've watched, have you ever gone back and watched for like the really early ones?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's not as good.
No.
It took him some time to catch his footing, but.
Well, and that's like Seinfeld too. If you go back and watch the first 2 seasons of Seinfeld, the characters are they are not degenerates like they are in the later ones.
I think most good comedy series that have a long run, they spend the first couple seasons getting their footing. Suk, I tried to go back and watch the beginning of It's Always Sunny, which I know is one of your top ones. Those early seasons aren't great. No. You have to wait till you get into 3, 4, 5 before it starts getting good.
Well, it's the same thing. It's Always Sunny, Seinfeld, and Curb. It's all the same thing in that the characters aren't awful. At the first couple seasons, they're not bad. And I don't know what that is. If it takes a while to be like, hey, we can really go for this. If people are afraid to put out characters that aren't good people. But all 3 of those shows, which are 3 of my favorites, the characters get socially and just like their conscience goes to hell as it goes on.
They get morally worse.
They get morally worse. And as they get morally worse, it gets better and better. And like Frank being added to It's Always Sunny and Leon coming into Curb. When Leon was introduced, that show went to a different level. Because Leon was involved in the Foisted episode.
Well, and they went there with so many uncomfortable race things, too, that Leon helped them unlock. They're just like, we're going to go for it.
There's a great one where Larry hits someone's car and he leaves a note. And the dude is so angry at Larry, and then he shows up to the door and Leon answers it. And the guy's so intimidated by the fact that he's black, he's just like, you know what, I'm going to take care of this. And Leon just shuts the door. I love that they lean into the black-white dynamic of Leon
and how uncomfortable it makes Larry.
Yes. Yeah.
All right,
the sex doll episode with Leon. Leon leaves his blow-up doll around the house.
Season 11, or no, 12.
12, yep.
Sunday, final season.
I'll be sad to see it go, but man, it was a hell of a ride.
All right, there's a Netflix show called American Nightmare.
And it is a nightmare.
It is wild, and we will discuss it next on The Fan.
It's The Fan on Demand.
That's the number one trending show on Netflix.
Still need to check that out. I'm telling you, the new season of Fargo I'm like 4 episodes in.
It's great.
Dude, John Hamm, holy hell.
And honestly, I think the gal from Ted Lasso is way better in this role than she was in that. She's awesome.
You're not ready for John Hamm's nipples pierced. You're not ready for that.
He's a hard man for hard times.
Yeah, baby. I love his character. Yeah, it's really good.
So the number 2 trending show on Netflix right now, and you can't swing a bag of dead cats without people talking about this. I was actually getting my hair cut today, and they were talking about it in there.
I don't know how I had never heard of this story before.
Me neither. I don't remember anything about this in the news.
No.
Not one thing. But it happened.
I don't either.
In 2014, I think 2015.
Not that long ago, and they were, like they showed the clips. It was a national story, and I just don't remember it.
So the show's called American Nightmare. It's 3 episodes.
2015, by the way.
2015, okay. Yeah. It's 3 episodes. Easy watch, all are 45 minutes. You'll watch them all right in a row because right at the end of the first one, they kind of lay out what has happened, and it's a kidnapping.
Rape.
Well, at first, it's a kidnapping where this guy's girlfriend gets taken from his home in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Weird circumstance, which we can get into, but the first episode is just laying out what he says happened, and the cops do not believe him one bit.
Neither do I.
You have no idea what has occurred, but right at the end of the first episode, this is why you will watch them in succession right away. Right at the end of the first episode, they show her. She's sitting there at the table, and you're like, "What? Wait, she's alive! No, wait, what? What happened?"
You think there's no way?
No, there's no way. Yeah,
she's deader than fried chicken,
or she's just not in the it was a hoax, and she was behind it, or she's in prison or something. No. She's sitting right there, and so that trails off, and then it goes into the second one where it's like, okay, well now I have to watch that, and you will watch it right away. It's wild.
No, I just have never, of all those murder mystery Dateline sort of crap, this was the one that I think was the most what the F just happened. And the ending of that thing, no freaking way.
There's the strangest twist is, well, let's go chronologically. So what basically, I mean, we don't have to get into the whole thing, and there will be spoilers in here, I'm just warning you. Yeah. They live in California. Mm-hmm. He invited her over that night because he had been kind of flirting around with his ex.
Yes, he was actively trying to get back together with her.
And she knew it, and it was kind of a coming to Jesus evening for them. They were at the house talking about where they go from there in their relationship. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they go to bed. In the middle of the night, they both, let's just go with him first because she doesn't appear until the second episode.
Yeah.
He says that somebody came into their room, broke into their house, came into their room, shined a big bright light. He couldn't see a thing, put swim goggles over him, and gave him a bunch of NyQuil and took her from the house.
Yep.
Sounds very Night Stalker-y, very Golden State Killer-y, kind of along those lines.
Wearing a wetsuit.
They were wearing wetsuits.
Wetsuit said there were 2 people. Said that they called him by name. Said that they weren't trying to kidnap her. They were actually trying to kidnap his ex-girlfriend, not her. Like the whole thing. They drugged him, and that for 6 hours he couldn't move. Even though they had untied him on the way out the door, that he sat there for 6 hours and was completely incoherent because they gave him NyQuil, and he knew what else they had given him. It was NyQuil and like some benzoid something or other. It is the most unbelievable hunk of crap story you've ever heard in your entire life.
Yeah, it's so bizarre that you're like, how could he even make that up?
It's the dumbest thing. Like I said, at that moment while we're watching this, I turned to my gal and I said, I will bet every dollar I have
that it's a hoax.
Yeah. That because I wasn't like, it couldn't be as simple as he's just the killer. I'm like, this whole thing is there's just no.
So the cops thought he killed her.
Yes, the cops immediately everyone else was like, you're full of crap.
So anyway, he gets tied up. They take her. Oh, he also notes that they take his vitals.
Yes.
They took his blood pressure.
Yeah, they were very nice. Spoke to him
I
by
don't
name.
really know why they took his. I guess they're just making sure they don't want him to die.
They didn't want murder on their hands.
I like that they were nice enough to uncuff him too, like to just let him free when they're leaving.
They left him on his couch, drugged up, and then they put a red tape on the floor and they pointed a camera at him and they told him on it, and they left his phone there, and they texted him on his phone and said, "Hey, look up there. There's a camera. We are watching you. Do not call the police and do not leave that. Go outside of that red tape."
Yeah.
So he doesn't know what the hell to do. Well, he calls 911.
Yeah, eventually. It's like 6 hours later.
Yeah, because he had passed out.
Yeah.
From the drugs. So he goes to the cop shop, and they're interviewing him, and they release the interview footage, and they do not believe a word he is saying. As a matter of fact, this guy, Detective Mustard.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, again, really, the guy's name is Detective Mustard?
He does not believe a thing that is coming out of this kid Aaron's mouth.
Nor do I.
I actually found him. It wasn't that I believed him. It was that I think he was acting. Okay, there's two different things. Like, the story is unbelievable.
Yeah.
No one would believe that story.
And that's part of the reason for the cop's attitude in the initial interrogation.
He's like, dude, you're full of it.
The guy's story doesn't seem to make any sense.
This does not happen. That did not happen, which is a horrible way to approach it. But that's one thing. There's not anybody who thought, oh, that's really what happened.
No.
Okay. But the other part of it is how he was acting, the kid, Aaron. He's not a kid. He was in his 30s.
I think he was a young guy. He was in his 20s.
And I think they said he was 30.
Really?
But I thought the way he was acting was certainly how someone would act who is confused and really is trying to wrap his head around what the hell just happened to him and is sort of at a loss. Like I thought he was acting as if he was telling the truth.
In retrospect, I don't disagree, but at the same time, some of his body language and some of his attitude or the way that he answered questions made it seem like he might have just botched this thing himself. There was so little that he could explain, and again, for good reason later down the road, but he almost didn't seem adamant enough that he didn't know anything or didn't know what had happened.
The weirdest thing about this whole thing is what I've determined throughout this whole thing is that if you are going to commit violent crimes, make the violent crime so stupid that no one will believe the person. Like, if you're going to leave a survivor, just have the most ludicrous plan that you can come up with in your mind, and no one will believe him. Because not a single person in that police department believed him, and I don't blame him. Not for one freaking second.
I blame him. That's the worst police work. I mean, dude, you can't. You're the cops. You cannot.
And that first guy came in, he had decided what had happened already.
They had already made up their mind.
And that's not fair.
But what happened to these people was awful, by the way. Here's the spoiler. It did happen.
It did happen.
She was kidnapped. She was raped twice and then let go. They were trying to get money from ransom, which he did not pay. But that's ultimately what happened. And she shows back up.
Yeah.
And then they interview her, and she goes through the details of everything that happened. And everything that she said corroborated everything that he said. So now you're thinking, well, wait a minute. They're in on this together. This is a hoax.
Gone Girl.
Yeah, because the cops think it's exactly like the movie Gone Girl. And so they instantly just put him in that, they just railroaded him.
Yeah.
The cops came out because it was a big national story. Cops come out in the news and say, they've wasted our time, our resources. We can't corroborate any of this. They're liars. And that's where the public went with the story. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
And the end of it was they lied.
They turned out,
but they didn't.
No, turned out everything they said, when you watch it, everything they say, every horse crap detail turns out to be true. It's the most amazing story I've ever heard in my entire life.
So he takes her to Lake Tahoe, and I'll shorten this up because we're telling you the whole story here. But she is tied up in Lake Tahoe. They're trying to get money from him. He can't get enough money to give them, but he does have money.
Yeah.
I guess they said. But anyway, the guy who was keeping her hostage in Lake Tahoe was he was a Harvard graduate.
Yep.
And an ex-military guy, but he raped her because he said that he had to have sex with her because if she went out, he was going to let her go, and if she spoke about what had happened or told anybody, then he is releasing the sex tape on the internet.
Turns out, he is the nicest rapist in the world in that he's kidnapped multiple women, but he can never bring himself to rape them. So he kidnaps her and he convinces her that she has to have sex with him and make it voluntary. That way she won't get hurt, and then he just releases her. It's the weirdest thing. The dude wants to be a rapist, but he doesn't want to force himself on anyone, so he basically coerces her to have consensual sex with him, which is just rape.
That's not true. No. He raped her. She did not want to have sex with him.
Of course not, but he wanted her. Yeah,
he wanted her to pretend.
Feel like a rape.
Well, the second time.
Yeah.
So he said, so she did it with him the first time. She was raped on tape. And then he came back and said, we have to do it again because I need it to look more consensual.
Yes.
Because if I release
you need to be into it.
You need to look like you're into it. So she got raped again.
Dude, it's just...
At any rate, here's the strangest twist in the whole thing. And it is freaking unbelievable. No one believes her or him.
No.
The kidnapper let her go, actually took her to her hometown. She was not far from her dad's house.
Dropped her off.
And
she dropped her off in the neighborhood, right?
And she goes to her dad and is like, I'm fine. And shows back up. And now she's being a little evasive with the police because she didn't want to say anything because the guy told her not to.
Yeah.
So now she's just scared. She doesn't know what to do. She was just raped. And they throw her and Aaron, her boyfriend, under the bus. Like the whole world believes that they lied and made it up. The strangest twist is that the kidnapper gets so mad that no one believes them that he emails the San Francisco Chronicle and says, dude, I did this.
It's like Zodiac style. Like,
And
hey, I didn't know I had credit here.
And here are some photos. Yeah. And so
they're telling the truth.
He takes it, the Chronicle guy takes it to the police. He's like, dude, I think you need to see this. And they still don't believe it, but they follow up on it. Yeah. Luckily, there is a different jurisdiction that not this police department that railroaded the guy for whatever reason, they just case closed. Like they're not going to listen to anything else. They lied. This other jurisdiction actually went and found the perp because the perp tried it again and left his phone on the people's kitchen counter.
Yep.
And so they call the phone, the guy's mom answers, and they're like, no, this is my son's phone. Well, where is he? Oh, he's down at my lake house in Lake Tahoe.
They go get him.
They go to Lake Tahoe and they find, he's not there. Well, no, he was there.
He was there.
They find everything that he showed in the photos and everything that corroborated the story. As a matter of fact, they found a blonde hair on the goggles and it matched her. Yep. And so that was definitive proof that they were telling the truth.
It's unbelievable.
The other really bizarre aspect to me, which I do think played a part, was the kind of social and pop culture phenomenon of the whole Gone Girl thing. That basically the movie Gone Girl had come out and was very popular, and they're positing that could be, they could be pulling off a Gone Girl situation because of the movie that was released a year
ago. It did look a lot like Gone Girl.
It was very, they thought copycat. But if that movie doesn't get put out,
I get having a theory that maybe but how about try to keep an open mind about what happened and go do your job.
Yeah.
So there's the other thing that there's a lot of unopened questions too. One is they left undone the other people. There were other people involved.
Yep.
And they never mention a word about going after them or finding them, or if the couple, who by the way they're still together, if they're scared of the other people.
Well, we don't know if there's other people involved.
Well, no, there were.
No, because they said that she originally said that they thought there were two people there, but they found a dummy in his car that was dressed up. That they are alluding to the fact that he even brought in a fake dummy, so it looked like there was someone else in there, like he had help.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Where did I miss that?
I don't know, but when they arrest him and they open up the trunk, there is a dummy in a scuba suit, all geared up, like ready to go, and so there was alluding to the fact that he went so far as to bring that thing in with him, so they were like, oh, there's two of us, not one. When in reality, it probably was just this donkey. It's unbelievable.
I thought she was talking about how she heard people talk, like there was another guy that came in, there were more boots, or I don't know. Anyway, it is the damnedest thing. The other thing that they really don't, it's very frustrating, they don't go into, is that the ex-girlfriend who Aaron was trying to get back with, she dated the lead FBI agent on the case.
That was ignoring the...
So
I forgot that part.
So now there's a whole thing of, wait, were the cops involved here? Like the cops wanted to get him in the first place, and that's why they just never believed him.
They settled for a couple $1 million, but I mean, it's
Yeah, they sued and settled, and they should have won more, but they settled out of court for $2.5 million.
It is,
and now they still live. They're still together. Yep. They have 3 kids, and they seem pretty normal.
Yeah, they seem pretty well adjusted.
Yeah,
the guy,
on the surface,
the perp was a guy by the name of Matthew Mueller, and he was this Harvard grad, ex-military guy who just
cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Crazy, yeah, just.
But at the same time, like, with some sort of conscience, it's the weirdest thing. Like, he
had obstacles or mental hangups that he couldn't get over, but most of it was fine with him. It's weird, really weird.
He's like, I really want to rape people, but I don't want to hurt anyone while I do it. And then at the end, I'd like to just kindly drop you. Like, what? It's so...
Dude, you guys got to watch it.
There's just no way.
Now that we've told you the whole story.
There's just no way I would believe unless I saw that was a true story. Like, if you made a movie about that, I'd be like, what a crock of ass.
Well, it's Gone Girl.
Like, this is so
they already
stupid. Gone Girl's way more believable than this. Holy hell.
So it's called American Nightmare, trending on Netflix. Freaking excellent. And maddening all at the same time.
Yes. And then it makes you feel stupid because you're like, oh, this dude's full of crap. Oh, she's full of crap. And they're telling the truth.
Well, I, for one, had an open mind.
I did not.
And an open heart.
I did not. I had neither one of those things.
About it. But it is typical that usually the guy, it's the boyfriend. You know, like that's. I see why the
always
cops,
the boyfriend, the ex-husband,
Look,
the husband.
I'm not trying to. The cops did a piss poor job, obviously.
Horrible.
But
as a matter of fact, it's criminal.
It's criminal. But at the beginning, I can totally see why the cops were like, whatever, dude.
Professor Mustard.
I can see why Colonel Mustard was like,
don't waste my time, dude.
Your ass did that. But as the evidence rolled in, then they needed to have taken it seriously. But at the beginning, I don't fault them at all for being like, your dumb ass did this. You're lying. Let's go.
I do. I don't think you should. I just don't think you should jump to conclusions like that. That's exactly why you go to the cop. Like the guy was saying, I didn't know who to try. There's nobody's in our corner.
No.
At least somebody keep an open mind.
It wasn't me.
It's supposed to be the cops.
I would have had him guilty.
All right.
I'm terrible.
We have Neuralink implant news.
Yeah, I want to see this. Or hear it.
You want to see what?
Well, I saw that the first one got put in. I want to know what's up.
Yep, somebody's brain got the implant.
I don't fully even understand what it's supposed to do.
And so it begins.
Yes.
That's next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by LaRogue Brothers Jewelers. Every engagement ring is in stock and is up to 70% off LaRogue.com. First on The Fan. On the hardwood tonight, Damian Lillard makes his return to Rip City as the Bucks visit the Blazers. Tip off at 7 o'clock tonight. Blazers are 10.5-point dogs. After being evaluated today, Shaedon Sharpe will remain out with a lower abdominal strain, but will begin to ramp up light basketball activities. Big news today up in Seattle as the Seahawks have found their new head coach. Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald agreeing to a 6-year deal to be the head man there. At 36 years old, he'll be the youngest head coach in the league next season. Some potentially concerning news out of the Senior Bowl as Oregon center Jackson Powers Johnson had to leave the second day of practice with an unspecified injury and did not return. Former Ducks corner Kyrie Jackson also did not participate. He had a foot injury. Meanwhile, on the college hardwood, some tough news for Ducks basketball as Dana Altman has indicated both Keyshawn Barthelemy and Mookie Cook likely done for the season due to injuries they sustained last week. The Ducks will take on USC tomorrow night at 7:30 right here on The Fan. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. The playoffs, the big game. Watch and wager on all the action at Spirit Mountain Casino. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Daily Boost is the podcast for in-depth analysis.
people as test subjects.
Sure.
Monkeys.
How is that legal, by the way?
Well, the FDA approved it. It's a
Okay.
trial. Saying it wanted to enlist people ages 22 and above who are living with quadriplegia due to a spinal cord injury or ALS.
All right.
The disease that robs people of the ability to control their bodies.
Sure.
Okay, so Neuralink's clinical trial, it's called PRIME, and that is an acronym for Precise Robotically Implanted Brain-Computer Interface. The process involves using a robot to surgically insert the wires of the company's implant into a part of the brain related to movement. The device is designed to interpret a person's neural activity so that they can operate a computer or smartphone by simply intending to move. No wires or physical movement are required.
I find this just creepy as hell, but also very cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool, but also terrifying.
So they use custom-made microscopic needles.
So you don't have to cut open someone's head. They're just...
Nope. They just...
shoot it in there.
He says the tip is only 10 to 12 microns in width.
That's what she said.
Buck knows about that.
Yeah.
Only slightly larger than the diameter of a red blood cell. The small size allows threads to be inserted with minimal damage to the cortex.
Huh. I had a different view. I was thinking like a quarter-size thing that they cut you open and just put something in there. I had like a microchip. I had something completely different in mind.
So the implant then includes a bunch of electrodes and threads and cool Neuralink stuff.
Sure.
And then there's an app that connects wirelessly to a computer or other device with the robot. So that's how they do it.
So it's not even a person that puts it in there.
No, it's a Roby.
Huh. And then, so what, I mean...
So you just think and you control your phone and computer. You just think it.
So is eventually, like you said, people with like ALS, is it going to like send out impulses telling your body to move even though you can't send it from your brain? Is that what... Like
yes,
that's what. So if you had a spinal cord injury, right, we can't get the signal down the spinal cord, and they're saying this is going to like reroute that.
Correct.
Or boost the signal like a Wi-Fi router.
Well, I mean, but you'd have to be able to jump it because that's the whole point is that the spinal cord's is severed. So, that boy, that's a whole thing.
They say it aims to redefine the boundaries of human capability. They could significantly shape the future of interaction and independence, not just for you, but for countless others.
I mean, I guess. I mean, that's...
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, the promise of this is amazing, but at the same time, it's also very freaky to me. Like, the idea of something being implanted into your head and then someone else potentially having control over that, or I don't know.
Or if it malfunctions.
Yeah, malfunctions.
I don't know. It goes back to the age-old question. Well, it's not age-old, but new age-old question. Where do we draw the line with our integration with technology?
Well, just because you can doesn't mean that you should.
There is that.
I guess.
Or why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Flip side is this is great.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, what do you have to lose?
Yeah, exactly.
So said how many of those anti-vax people are going to sign up to have their brain implant?
What?
He said how many of the anti-vax people are going to sign up to have the brain implant? I'm not going to put that vaccine in me, but God bless, shove that microchip in my head. I mean, it is weird to think about that. If you had that, like, I mean, would you then have access to just Google? Like you could just Google things in your mind, and do you have to look it on your phone, or do you instantly remember it? Like I don't know how far does that go? Like if you just think of something and then the answer pop into your head, or do I have to read it off my phone? Like the paralysis stuff and all that stuff is amazing. The information stuff, or being able to think about like my phone and having it turn on, that, I don't know. I find that to be the part that gives me the heebie-jeebies. But the idea of being able to cure ALS or curing paralysis, like that's freaking awesome. Someone said, can I think about an erection? And then put one through the uprights.
Maybe so.
Someone said, Vancouver Vortex line, porn will drive the acceptance of this. How long before it's just used for seemingly unimportant things?
Well, that will happen.
Yeah. Would you do this?
No. Now?
10 years down the road, and then we find out it's safe. right? It's not, no one's died. Seems to be working. Are you, are you signing up for the control your phone, turn on your...
safe. What'd you say? It's safe. No one's died and it works.
Let's go 10 years down the road, right? And you don't have it. You don't have ALS. You don't have Parkinson's. Nothing like that. You just, you can control your phone. I don't know. You can Google things in your mind.
How many other people have it? Where are we at on the numbers?
We got a couple 100,000 and no one's injured.
That's too small.
We have no major deaths. No nothing.
Hey, look, if we're at 25% of people have it, I'll jump aboard.
I don't know, man. If 100 or 200,000 people have it and no one's had an issue, I might get in line.
It'd be kind of cool. I mean, I don't know what's the downside. You said no one no one's.
I mean,
we having any problems with
what's
it?
the idea? Like, does it boost your intelligence? Like, are we going down a whole limitless thing?
Lord knows I need that.
I mean, like, does it make you smarter? Does it make can you have a language one where like all of a sudden I speak other languages, I understand other languages?
Go.
Imagine if there was one that could help control weight loss and there's so many. Are we reaching a point now where we're gonna have like I don't know like the idea of like superhumans, like humans without physical and flaws? It's so strange.
I have a lot of flaws. I could use a little help.
Can you control other phones with it? Like you give someone access to your phone?
Now that's a good question. Like, can I just think about texting something, terrible to your buddy or something? I mean, I don't know. On your phone.
Every husband's like blocks. The wife wants to know why she doesn't have access to your phone. You're like, sorry, honey, I can't have that. She's like, I want the Neuralink to your phone. I forgot the password. Think about it. I can't allow that. Sorry, no.
Yeah, I think I'm in. The more I think about it,
I'll tell you what, I don't want anyone. I don't want anyone reading anybody's thoughts. It'd be the worst thing to happen in the world. Everyone be divorced tomorrow, walking around going to prison, walk around reading people's thoughts.
All right, I got one final story for you about a woman who fell in a dumpster.
Oh.
And she got compacted.
That's not good. I don't want to be compacted. Star Wars
like
style.
a pancake.
Yeah, tube of toothpaste. At least you go head first at that point.
Question is, did she die?
Oh, maybe not.
Next on the Fan.
Ow! 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 Yeah. The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. This is the only reason I would care.
odd. You would think you'd be able to finagle your way out.
They just said she told them she had somehow fallen in while throwing out her trash.
Well, she was 60, right?
She was 60.
Well, you get a little old, you get a little confused. And
that's not that old, though.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she had been drinking a little bit.
Apparently, there you go. Neighbors reportedly watched as the whole nightmarish scene unfolded. Firefighters scrambled to rescue the woman. All you heard was screaming. This woman said, "My kids are home from school. They're watching." I was like, girls, once you see her come out, I don't want you watching this.
Oh, yeah. Because you assume that when someone goes into the compactor, they're coming out,
right,
Beetlejuice style.
Spaghetti.
Yeah, it's not good.
Or pancake, I guess.
But, she came out okay.
She's fine.
Yeah, what?
Serious condition, though.
All right, well,
Sure, it was touch and go, but she's going to live.
I mean, it's not good. You never want to be compacted. But at the same time...
Now, will she sue? That's the question.
How can you sue for your dumbass falling in?
Well, you asked the same question about
Oh, boy. Yeah, you want to go down that rabbit hole?
Right.
How can you sue for spilling coffee on yourself?
You know the answer.
Yeah, we're going to find out that they didn't put enough signs. Don't get compacted,
Or
danger.
your favorite, getting hit by a train?
Yeah.
The lid was open.
Yeah, the lid was open. Yeah, this, valid point. Here I am thinking, how are you going to sue? Oh, she'll find a way to sue. Question is, do you get compacted 4 times if it gets you a couple $1 million?
A couple million?
Yeah,
No.
That lady that got run over by the train, she got 7, but she lost a limb.
If you gave me $7 million?
$7 million.
Boy, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. You don't know if you're going to survive. I'll put you in a compactor right now.
I don't know if I'm going to survive?
Well, I don't know. You got to go in the compactor. I mean, you're going to get compacted.
Well,
Would you give up your non-dominant arm for $7 million right now?
No.
My lefty?
Yeah.
No.
At the shoulder or like?
Yeah. The shoulder.
Nah, give me the elbow. I'm negotiating for the elbow.
Not giving you the elbow. You're only getting 2 for that.
Well, if I get the elbow, then I get one of them cool robot hands because I got $7 million.
$7 million's not enough. Now, if you're talking hundreds of millions,
hundreds, come on.
What?
Dude, at 10, you can take it at the shoulder. I still think I can get a cool robot arm.
I need $100 million.
$100 million?
Yeah.
You think
like
you
my
do
arms.
it for 50?
Well, my arms are hot.
Your arm's worth $100 million?
Yeah, sexy.
What are you talking about? You don't have $100 million arms.
It's got little tafts of hair on the top.
You don't got Doc Gooden hair up. You don't got Doc Gooden's arm. $100 million.
Lefty.
Look at you.
Little golf swing.
Ridiculous.
Pretty nice.
The golf is going to get affected.
Well, yeah. If I don't have an arm, I can't play golf.
Sure you can. I've seen guys play one-handed.
Yeah, I don't want to play one-handed. No, I need $100 million. And if you're not guaranteeing I live, I'm not jumping in there.
Well, again, you got to have some risk involved. It's a compactor. You can't predict what's going to happen in a compactor. It's unpredictable.
Then I'm out. You would do that? I'm like, you may or may not survive.